Last time NARL came to Austria, it was foggier than the foggiest British sim race around at Knock Hill, but now it's a beautiful morning for racing, a beautiful morning for Nathan Lewis to defend his points lead. Down on amateur, however, it's one of the most topsy-turvy set of standings as Teague Ashburn checks into the Red Bull ring. Well, actually doesn't even check into the Red Bull ring. He's missing tonight, but comes into the Red Bull ring at least in position number 1 atop the point standings. Your next best in amateur then falls down to Rob Rodriguez Jr., who is here in a BMW. They are just 2 points apart as we get ready for round number 4 this season in NARL GT3 action. Hi, welcome to PitStop TV for NARL GT3 season round 3, GT3 season 3 round 4 at the virtual there we go. We're off to a great start here, JP, at the virtual Red Bull ring, not the Nürburgring ring, the Red Bull ring. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with JP Costa alongside, and Red Bull ring has always held a pretty similar shape, but not without decades of development and course evolution. JP has gone through several changes over the course of time, and I think this is just about as good as it could be.
Absolutely, Andrew. It has changed quite a lot, but it stood the test of time as well. I think it's one of the benchmarks actually for racing. The scenery is beautiful, the background is beautiful, the track is absolutely beautiful and fantastic to race on. And I'm pretty sure each and every single driver who's racing here tonight on amateur and the Pro and Pro-Am class is gonna love the challenges. And obviously, the only 9-10 corners that this track provides.
Yeah, only 10 corners here. It's very fast, very short layout. Checks in at just about 2 2/3 of a mile. Not very long. And to have an F1 course under 3 miles and to bring GT3 cars here, it's definitely one of these shorter, faster courses that we could, come to for this season. And here we are. Here it is before you. As these guys continue getting laps around the Red Bull ring here in Austria. Spielberg, Austria, to be exact. And, this just feels like a good place to come racing. We've gone to Charlotte in the Porsche Cup cars. We'll be there later this season with the GT3 cars. We've got Zolder on the schedule, of course. Road Atlanta started things off, Sebring and whatnot. But Red Bull Ring, I think since being added to the iRacing.com service, has certainly become one of the best circuits to bring any league to. It's just a good little racetrack, and it's very fast, very flowing, also very technical at the same time. You make one mistake, for example, in the hairpin in turn 3, and you're going to have probably a pretty poor lap, actually, because it's at the tail end of one of the biggest straightaways and the beginning of another large straightaway in DRS zone if we were in Formula 1 cars headed down to turn number 4. So you've got to be pretty exact around here, no matter what corner it is, even through 6 and 7. I'm not even going to try the name pronunciations. Let's go ahead and get down to the track map, though. Not even going to try and pronounce anything other than Remus and Nicky Lauda turn at turn 1. I know it's Power Horse. You can call it for turn 6. It goes by a different name, but that's as good as you're going to get out of me.
Yeah, but the track is absolutely amazing, Andrew. And obviously you can see it's dominated by straightaways, even small, I guess you can say curved straightaways between turns 4 and 6. Obviously between turns 6 and 7 and 7 and 9. It's just dominated by fast straightaways. Obviously a lot of overtaking opportunities down turn 1, turn 3, 4, I guess you can say even 9 and 10 maybe, depending on the run that you get. But, it's also a good track for strategy as well, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of the name of the games, even in the amateur class. But, good racing is always expected around Red Bull Ring.
We'll see plenty of fuel strategy throughout the course of the day, just like usual. The GT3 lap record here, however, set by Christian Engelhardt in a 2017 Lamborghini Huracan. That was a 128.445. And we're not there at all, at least for these amateur guys. The best lap so far set by Mike Braun at a 130.212 in practice. We'll see if we get to that time with draft conditions or not. Let's go ahead and check out those standings that I was talking about here in just one moment. These are your amateur standings. Checking in with Teague Ashburn, as I mentioned, your points leader, Rob Rodriguez in second. Brent Kincott is actually in the 3rd spot in these standings. That is a surprise to me, with Ilya Speaker just nice and consistently following Brett into that 4th spot, and Diego Eda, minus all of his issues so far this season, including last week at Long Beach, he's still in the top 5, JP. To get to our first race winner, you got to look all the way down to 10th place. That's David Hicks, and then it's 12th with Scott Angelo, who won last week at Long Beach. Will Coffey is somebody that strikes me as very, very low in these standings. Of course, he dropped out of Sebring on the last couple of laps and didn't win that race when he honestly should have, so he's 20th now. Chris Winstone, I feel like, should be higher. Dan Willis should certainly be higher, as well as potentially Joshua Benjamin. Adolfo Perez was great last week, and Zachariah Rosar, I think, a little bit higher up in 8th place, is a driver you've got to look at certainly wanting to get some points today and move up in that order.
Absolutely, and I love that this championship, honestly rewards, I guess, consistency. Obviously, we can keep an eye out for David Hicks, who won 2 out of the 3 rounds, but still 35 points behind the leader, Teague Ashburn. So, just the consistency, Andrew, that you get over the races. You might not win, and you can win the championship. And you can definitely win each and every single, not each and every single race, because otherwise you would have won, but you can win a lot of races and still lose the championship. So, consistency has been the key, and on this track, it's really going to test, big braking zones. Mistakes are going to be easy on their braking, so a lot of these drivers need to keep an eye out for, especially if you're in the top 10, even top 20 so far, battling for the championship.
Let's go ahead and check out the Pro-Am standings coming into this evening, and you can see Nathan Lewis, as I mentioned, atop the point standings, but with no wins. So, just like an amateur, you've got to go quite down the ways to find your first winner. All the way down in 7th place is Nicolas Rubilar, who won the first 2 rounds with Andre Melcher's mishaps, and, well, Andre Melcher's then right behind him in the 8th position, but it's Nathan Lewis and Gustavo Ariel leading the way so far, 6 points separated, and then it's Dominic Olivier in the 3rd spot and Juan Blena in 4th. Hunter McDaniel checks in at the top 5 and Martin Crisp 6th, and it doesn't feel like, I think, 3rd through 6th has been in those 3rd through 6th positions yet this season, but there they are, just consistently putting finishes together, well ahead of guys like Victor Miranda and Fabio Zamperlini, so certainly consistency is king.
Absolutely, and it's not the same actually for the Pro-Am. Obviously, we have the 2 winners, Andrew. Well, on the top 2 spots, Bryce Rodriguez winning 2 races, Paulo Godoy winning 1 race, and they are leading. Obviously, John Sedlak coming in 18 points behind, and Reed Gibson only 1 point behind John. So, still quite close. Still a lot can change, especially today, and I feel like we're gonna see a big shakeup in the point standings for all 3 classes.
I think one driver to be surprised about in this Pro-Am category is actually Brian Zinn, who is atop the amateur battle, well, not atop, but in that amateur battle in Porsche Cup on Tuesdays, and is actually checking in as a Pro-Am here of the GT3 cars, and is 9th place in the standings, so showing that he can mix it up with some of these guys as well. Pierre Thompson, very close to a top 5, in fact, tied with Mike Galbraith in that 6th spot. Justin Seng is looking great so far this season. Scott Kimbrough, Reed Gibson, though, they're the ones right with John Sedlak that are just on the cusp of a win, and so far it's been Paulo Godoy and Bryce Rodriguez taking those wins. We might see that change this afternoon at the Red Bull Ring. We'll have to wait and see how things go. The schedule for this season, I've already kind of talked about it a little bit. Road Atlanta, Sebring opened things up. It was Long Beach last week, Red Bull Ring tonight, then Zolder, Circuit Zolder next week. I'm really excited for Zolder. This schedule is filled with a lot of tracks that I personally really like. Zolder is one of them. Of course, Charlotte Motor Speedway, one of my top 3 tracks ever, along with Road Atlanta and VIR, so you can figure out how that top 3 is made up. And of course, Interlagos is not far behind and would maybe make a top 5 or certainly a top 10 list, but Zolder there fits right in with them. Just a lot of great racetracks, and we're gonna have a fun month to end this season, beginning tonight. Red Bull Ring, 5 really good races.
Oh, absolutely. This schedule is just fantastic. To be honest, the only track that might be my least favorite is Sebring, just because of the fact that I really cannot get around there quickly. But other than that, Andrew, each and every single round, I mean, I have circuits battling for, 2nd spot. Obviously, Interlagos is always going to be my favorite, but Road Atlanta, VIR, Charlotte, Roval, those are fantastic. Red Bull Ring is just so much fun. Long Beach, challenging. I just love this schedule. I'm pretty sure, a lot of the drivers, I probably mentioned this each and every single week, but I'm pretty sure all the drivers love this schedule as well. It features pretty much everything you want.
We've got a slick set of racetracks left to go here. Really, really good set of racetracks. And it's going to be a very, very fun season. Practice is wrapping up. Let's go ahead and go trackside and check out a few of the cars out there. I've noticed a lot of McLarens, at least relative to what we usually see towards the top of the board. Here's Will Coffey's Ferrari, very high up on the board in 3rd spot. We've even got Brandon Louvier in the 88 car in a BMW. Austin Hodel is out there in a Ferrari as per usual. Bobby Flack in a Ferrari. A lot of Ferraris. That's going to be the course of the day. The story of the day. We saw BMWs at Road Atlanta. We saw, Audis last week at Long Beach. And we're seeing Ferraris tonight at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, absolutely. Drivers are going to be opting for maybe a little bit more of that, rotation on the car, especially the McLarens. I feel like we're not going to be seeing, as you mentioned, a lot of BMWs. We're not going to be seeing those cars that are a bit heavier on the front side of the car. So yeah, that's going to be a challenge for these drivers. The next challenge that they need to face, Andrew, is this, the qualifying session. Very important, obviously, especially with their run up to turn 1.
Drivers leaving the pit lane, getting going. Here's a look at Sean Patterson. Rob Rodriguez already on the racetrack. Diego Eda as well. Clarence Rosa getting out of the pit lane. Ilya Speaker getting out of the pit lane. Just so many cars all bum rushing the racetrack, and it's a good thing that these are single car qualifying runs. You can't actually go on track with anybody else, so these guys are all bum rush the track at once, and it is of no concern to them. Otherwise, yeah, we'd have a lot of cars on the racetrack all at once, and it's not a very big track in the grand scheme of things. We do invite you to follow us along at social media, or on social media this evening: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the whole lot of them. Of course, we're broadcasting to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We appreciate everybody watching so far this evening, and we do hope that you'll follow along with our social media updates throughout the course of the races. Dominic Angelicchio out there in a McLaren as well. Let's take a look at his car and go on board even as he warms up.
So obviously we're going to be seeing the driver warming up the front tires, maybe just taking a little bit easy and taking a bit of those nerves off. Obviously running that beautiful Alfa Romeo F1 livery on that McLaren. Yeah, he's about to start. Obviously he's exiting the final sequence of the middle part of the sector 2 of the racetrack, and now approaching. This is where it all begins. Now you pretty much hold your breath, keep your pedal to the metal, and just pretty sure make sure you hit each and every single apex of this corner, starting right here.
Still on board with Dominic as he works onto the front stretch and begins his first flying lap. And like I said, a lot of McLarens well up on the practice order today. We'll see if that carries over into qualifying and, of course, then into the race as Dominic works around turn number 1. Let's check in with Sean Patterson in a Porsche. Let's just go through as much of the field as we possibly can here. Chris Winstone is out there in a Ferrari in car 37. We saw Milan Harris and Chip Witt even. Here's John Kroom for Rockefeller Racing in a Ferrari. No surprise that we're seeing a lot of Ferraris, if I'm being honest. Brian Long is out there in a Lamborghini this evening. I would think the Lamborghini would actually be pretty good here. I mean, you've got a big statue of a bull here in the center of the racetrack. I would think Lamborghinis, bulls would be pretty quick, but anyways, we'll let that one marinate. Dean Kerr out there in car 17 in a Porsche from Radness. Bobby Flack in that Ferrari. Blaine Sparling in a, Sparling I think was supposed to be, yeah, he is. Okay, so he was in Pro-Am earlier on in the season, has been dropped down, however, to the amateur category. So joining in car 159 in a BMW. Will Coffey, we saw he's in a Ferrari. Here's Brent Kingcott, third in the standings, in a Ferrari as well. And Rob Rodriguez Jr., second in the standings, and likely going to take those standings over with the absence of Teague Ashburn's Mercedes.
Hopefully you didn't just curse him with a possible DNF. Hopefully he can actually finish and take over the lead. Diego Ere in the McLaren so far. I really like this livery as well, and quite different. Clover right here in the Porsche. As you can see, Hicks sets the fastest lap of qualifying so far with 130.252. We're going to see drivers improving on that, I should expect. As you can see here, Colborne of the Ferrari taking quite a bit of an interesting line, a rallycross line. Clarence Rosa finishing up his lap, looks like. We have here Brown on the Audi, and I don't think we're going to see too many Audis just because maybe of the lack of top speed that the Audi has. The Ferrari, I think, has a higher top speed than pretty much each and every single GT3. That's why we're seeing so many of them. But yeah, Andrew, love seeing these GT3 cars. We're just going to have to wait and see who's going to, dominate qualifying.
We're seeing a fair amount of Audis, I think, mixed throughout the field. It's good to get a look at each of these cars that are out here. Here's Eric Staropoli, one of the other Lamborghini drivers in car 993, and Armando Bejaran out there in a Mercedes. Still opting for that Mercedes. We'll see how that works out for him this evening. Let's bring up the ticker on the left side of your screen and see how these guys are all doing. David Hicks, very quick. No surprise, car 20 is atop the board by almost 2/10 though over William Coffey and Joshua Benjamin, and it's good to see Joshua Benjamin following his teammate to the top of the board, or at least close to it. We've seen a pretty disappointing spring for him so far. It's good to see him back on the horse.
Yeah, absolutely. 1/2000 of a second behind second place, so he's doing really good on qualifying so far. Hopefully he can translate this pace to the race, and we're just going to have to wait and see if he improves on this current lap. Currently sitting on 130.452. And it's also easy to get a few off tracks on that final corner, so we're just gonna have to wait. And yeah, he improves, and he goes. Does he improve actually? Oh, he invalidated.
It was invalidated, but it might have been turn 1 with the way he just took turn 1 again. Honestly, this place is pretty forgiving with off tracks, especially between turns 9 and 10. Very, very forgiving. A lot of runoff room that you can use up there. And turn 1 is actually one of the more punishing corners, especially with that curve that they have on exit. Zachariah Rosar looking pretty good in a Ferrari. I think he started off the season in a BMW, so this is a big change for him coming over to the Ferrari, and we'll see how it works out for him. Leon Clover just went pretty quick. Ilya Speaker in 12th. Dominic Angelicchio in 11th spot. Brian Long in the top 10, but he is not on the racetrack currently. John Kroom is, however, in a Ferrari for Rockefeller Racing. We'll see what he can do lap number 2.
He's just starting up his lap. Just finishing up his lap number 2. He improves by nearly 1/10 of a second, and he moves up to 7th place. So really good qualifying so far. Let's see if he can improve on his 3rd lap. Well, here's a Lamborghini. We're just gonna have to wait and see what Staropoli can nail on this lap. Oh, it's not the wall. He saves it. But yeah, unfortunately that lap is gone, and with 3 minutes and 40, he might just have enough time to go around and finish up his lap.
Did Dale Jr. enter the race? I know he's racing Martinsville tomorrow, but this is a bit different, seeing a number 8 Budweiser car out there for Kerry Corcoran. I think we know who he likes in the NASCAR Xfinity Series these days, as, of course, Jr.'s retired. But anyways, Chip Witt goes a little bit faster up to 32nd as Corcoran begins his lap time. Witt now will tow back to the pit lane. Armando Bejarano is out there. No, he's not, as, oh my goodness. David Hicks is looking like Andre Melchers and Victor Miranda, at least of this amateur class. Very quick there in lap number 3.
Yeah, extremely quick, 3.5 of a second ahead of William Coffey. That's a big gap to have in qualifying, especially on a track like this, Andrew, where, I mean, you're spending most of your time flat out on the throttle, so it's all down to braking, perfecting your exits, all this sort of stuff, so it really improves, and yeah, you can lose a bit of time like that on the exits of corners if you just
this Porsche is all over the place.
Yeah, this Porsche looks, he's just struggling with grip mid-corner on the exit of corners, just losing the back end, so
that's rare in a GT3 car that's likely downforce related.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't have enough rear wing in it.
Yeah, probably. Obviously, they're going to be running pretty slim downforce levels just to be minimizing that drag. So, yeah, looks like he's going to be struggling a bit, at least in qualifying. Hopefully, he's not going to be struggling this much on the race, because that's really not confidence-inspiring.
That's Joshua Lyon in car 123. Quick so far in qualifying, but only 12th quick, as that lap does not improve his position at all. Here's Brandon Louvier. I know we've got a lot of his fans out there in the chat each race. Go on board with him, see how he does. That might have been off track. That might have just invalidated his lap time there for... well, actually, I think he's already on his final... He's already gone outside of his final lap, so he's already on lap number 4. Adolfo Perez out there in a Porsche. We'll see what he can do. He is on his 3rd lap.
The 3rd and final lap. He currently sits in a 132.222. 1.2 seconds away from the leader, which currently puts him in 22nd place, so he definitely wants to improve on this. With 1 minute and 40, this is going to be his last shot at a timed qualifying lap. After that is just practice, so hopefully he can improve. The Porsche seems to be struggling quite a bit, Andrew, around here. Not quite sure if we have any Porsches in the top 10.
I'm really surprised that a fixed setup high downforce Porsche would be getting that loose in turn 7. I don't know what's going on there, but that definitely should not be the case, especially on high downforce. So I really wonder what the problem was there a few minutes ago, but Adolfo looks a lot more planted. He looks a lot more comfortable around this circuit. We'll see what he can do across the line.
So once again, looking to improve on 131.2, and he doesn't, so sits at 131.2 as his best, which is good for 22nd place. Billy Bowerman, it looks like he's on his final of 10th as well, and with only 50 seconds, this is going to be it for him. So the car number 2 currently sits in 23rd position. So Andrew, he needs to improve quite a bit if he wants, obviously, to start inside the top 10 and maybe inside the top 20.
Just 2 cars will not get a time, and it looks like, those being Alan Doms in a Porsche and Eric Staropoli in a Lamborghini. They will start 41st and 42nd. Gary Corcoran got it a couple of times in. He'll go 39th so far in qualifying. Billy Bowerman, as we're watching on the racetrack, is 23rd. Adolfo Perez is 22nd. And Dominic Angelicchio is on the racetrack in his 13th. Bowerman goes way faster, up to 17th spot. That's a big improvement when you're down there in the mid-20s.
Yeah, absolutely. He improved by 6 positions, so really good qualifying. 3/10 found on that last lap. So if this is a continuation, if he can keep improving this on the race, he's going to be looking really, really strong. And
Adolfo Perez's run will be cut short, it looks like, as, he will not get a chance to finish that lap up. So that's it for qualifying, which heads us on into the gridding process for the amateur drivers. Let's take a look at the weather quickly before we get going, and it's definitely warmer than I ever would have expected. 85 degrees in the air. That is toasty. That might explain the Porsches being a little bit loose out there. That is really, really warm. Track temp of 106 with winds out of the south at 12 miles per hour. Okay. Yeah, you know what? That might explain the Porsches being a little bit off. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look at our grid, though, as we've got 42 cars to try and get through here. David Hicks on pole, Will Coffey second. Starting third, it's Rob Rodriguez Jr. Might be the points leader after this evening. Chris Winstone in fourth place. Starting fifth, it's Joshua Benjamin in car 78. John Kroom for Rockefeller Racing in sixth. And Zachariah Rosar, no, there's a lot of you fans out there as well, rooting him on, starting from the seventh spot. Mike Braun starts from eighth, and starting from ninth, you'll find Pablo Ferretti to the inside of Leon Clover.
11th place goes the way of Brian Long, Joshua Lyon just alongside him in 12th place. Row number 7 is going to start with Dominic Angelico in 13th place, Bobby Flack in 14th place on the outside. Row number 8 is going to start with E.A. Speaker in 15th place. Brendan Louvier is going to start in 16th place on his outside. 17th place will go the ways of Billy Bowerman in his number 2. The number 13 of David Stevenson is going to start in 18th place. Row number 10 is going to be Diego Era and Milan Harris.
Starting 21st, it's car 46, Andrew Korostecki with Austin Hodel starting alongside in car 145. 23rd, it's Adolfo Perez. Clarence Rosa rolls off tonight from 24th position. Starting 25th, it's Jeff Castillo in car number 110. Dan Willis has not gridded up yet, but will start 26th. Brent Kingcott will start from the 27th position in car 177 with Nicholas Sykes there in the 14th row. And back to row 15, you'll find cars 7 of Avon Dorsey and 159 of Blaine Sparling, a new addition to the amateur class.
31st place will go the ways of Armando Bejarron, Chip Witt on 32nd on his outside. 33rd place will go the ways of Philip Bederka in the number 70, the number 54 of Sean Patterson on his outside. 35th, Chad Nobles. 36th, Tyler Brown. 37th position is going to be James Colborn and Tyree Phillips on 38th spot. And Andrew, we're still going. Kerry Corcoran is going to start in 39th place, and Dean Kerr is going to start in 40th. 41st go the way of Eric Starapoli and Alan Dobbs in 42nd.
The 42 cars ready to get after it today at the virtual Red Bull Ring, and they're already headed down through turn number 10. And just like that, we are about ready to start this race. 40 minutes of amateur action begins now. A very clean turn 1 for most of this field. Certainly a welcome change from Long Beach a week ago, all the way up through turn number 2 into the hairpin at turn 3. Nice and orderly for most of the field. A couple of drivers looking to the inside for a couple of spots, but not much happening of it. And out of turn 3, the field is still all together.
Absolutely. You have a few cars going a little bit slowly. And
oh, there's some jambalaya.
Yeah, we have a bit of context, bit of argy-bargy. But looks like everybody, Andrew, is still pointing in the same direction, which is really good to see. You can see from the top 10 and maybe top 15, we're going single file through turns number 3 and 4. And, well, a clean, orderly start, which is always good for the start of a 40-minute race.
A couple of side-by-sides further back. I see Adolfo Perez side-by-side, or was side-by-side with somebody. Dominic Angelico there as well. As these guys continue on down to turn 7. And already out of turn 7, you can see most of the field headed to turn 8 already, and oh my God, even already turn 9 maybe? Where's our leader? There they come. This field is strung out very, very quickly. David Hicks on flying pace, doing absolutely fantastic so far already.
Yeah, absolutely. He's absolutely flying, kind of checking out already, which is going to be a good strategy, Andrew. Obviously, these drivers with the track temperatures we just saw, they need to be careful not to overheat their tires, which is really, I think, is going to be very easy to do. And as soon as David Hicks...
Can I highlight something? For the first time, the only thing we have to look at on lap number 1 is a quick spin with Dominic Angelico. He's got a problem in turn 10. It's not even that... Oh, maybe it is a big deal. A few cars turned around. I was about to say we don't have a replay to look at for lap 1 for the first time in a long time. That's changed.
Yeah, that's changed. We're going to have to take a look at exactly what happened to those 3 cars. On the last corner as well, Andrew. Only 10 corners around here. Just a really quick circuit. So Dominic Angelico was involved on that Alfa Romeo McLaren, I guess you can say. So he's going side by side down into turn number 9, and well, the contact has to happen around here.
David Stevenson now having issues live as, oh, Korostecki just to the inside, hits Angelichio, and he goes for a spin.
And he goes for a spin,
That's
gets straightened. Yeah, just gets straightened out, and it looks like just behind him, it was just a bit of
Tyler Brown and someone else.
Yeah, I think that was just avoidance.
There's some problems there. And then David Stevenson has an issue a little bit later. Let's see if we can find this out. Let's just follow the replay until this happens. Watch this number 13 Ferrari as he's headed up the hill, turn 2 to turn 3. You think it's turn 3 or turn 4?
I think it's going to be
turn
3.
That was Armando Beyer onto the inside.
Unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to get that spin around too quickly. Yeah, he's just going to have to wait for everybody. That's a terrible spot to be spun around.
And now Brian Long has had an issue. He has lost a couple of spots. Just took a little spin out of turn 9. Let's take a look at this before we come back to live picture. Brian Long, one of the better drivers in this series, I feel like. Just a quiet driver, though. Just ahead of, is that Billy Barriman following him? Is that car 2? I can't quite tell. It's one of the Empire cars. And oh, he goes around all on his own.
Yeah, that Lamborghini unfortunately just losing a bit of their rear grip and just going around. And he has to be careful now that he got a lot of temperature on those tires. He needs to take a little bit easier to cool them down, and I think that's going to be a really big thing tonight, Andrew. But I'm just stunned by the gap that David Hicks pulled out on second place. 1.8 seconds, and we're not even 5 minutes in.
Yeah, he has set sail from Will Coffey. And Rob Rodriguez actually, so Will Coffey came across the line to start this lap in second place and has since fallen back to 5th spot. Because you can see he was tracking to Coffey. Coffey is now much further down the order as opposed to Rodriguez, Benjamin, and Winstone. So problems here on lap number 3 now for car 57. But all things, and you can even see the number board on his windshield there. He came across in second, he's now 5th. But he'll be able to set back in and get back into rhythm here. And that might explain some of the gap.
Yeah, absolutely. That could very well explain a bit of the gap that we see between the drivers. As you can see now, David Hicks. That's also going to explain a bit of the gap, Andrew. I feel like those purple sectors and purple laps will definitely explain. So David Hicks really did his homework on practice.
Oh, and his teammate.
He's just absolutely setting sail. But unfortunately, his teammate looks like he found a bit of trouble. And that's on the exit of turn 9. That's on the pit lane entry.
Yeah, that's into turn 10. No problem here for Dan Willis. Let's go back and get a look at this. Let's actually go on board as well because the Porsches have been having big issues. This might tell us a bit of the story.
Yeah, I feel like
it's the curbing. Oh, and he got the grass on the inside even, so that's just a driver mistake.
Yeah, I feel like it was a combination of a lot of things, but mainly that grass and the curb. Yeah, just unfortunately got him to lose, and that bit of damage is definitely going to hurt him around here.
We'll come back to live picture now on lap number 4 of an expected 27. Zachary Rosa in a battle here with Leon Clover and Pablo Ferretti. This is down to turn 6 now. Ferretti in that orange and blue McLaren are on the outside of the blue Ferrari of Rosar. And Leon Clover pulls away in the red Porsche.
Yeah, but these two are still going at it. You can see through turn 7, still side by side, but the McLaren just edges ahead. Really good run for him on the outside as well. And that's brave, especially on the kind of the full tank of fuels they're using. So, yeah. Drivers are already going for it, which is really good to see. Unfortunately, that Ferrari is going to be dropping back quite a bit. Well, at least one more position. But, yeah, I like what I'm seeing so far.
Joshua Lyon now with a chance here with Zachary Rosar. Lyon, one of the newer drivers, I feel like. We've not said his name much this season, JP, but car 123 looking good today in the 11th position, working on 10th.
Yeah, if he gets a good run out of turn number 1, he might just have an answer, but it looks like that was not the case. So Zachary Rosa can take a breather so far, but you can see he started in 12th place, and well, he's up 1 position already, so definitely going upwards. You can see there, Zachary Rosa looking down the inside of Pablo Ferretti. That's going to be close on exit. They might just a little bit door bank, and look at the Porsche. Look at the run that he got.
It was very close there, side by side. They'll go down to turn number 4 now. Joshua Lyon trying to take the spot away on the outside. He's the yellow and green Porsche. Doesn't happen. Now he looks to the inside for turn 4, and he will go up the inside to Zachary Rosar. This is a battle for 10th place. Rosar now on the outside. Solid move there from Lyon. I like that.
Absolutely. He's going to have to hold it around the outside for turn 6, though. Can he do it? That's going to be tricky. No, and he's going to leave the door a little bit open maybe, but looks like that's not going to change a lot. But yeah, really good start from Joshua Lyon. Really aggressive, but really clean as well. Is exactly what we want to see.
A couple of cars here that I think are really worth looking at. Brent Kincott in third in points and Ilya Speaker in fourth. They are 18th and 19th on the racetrack. Ilya with the advantage currently in the 18th spot. And Kincott here making a move maybe for the 18th spot. Looks to the inside of 9, but doesn't actually force the issue. These two mired well deep in the field, JP, yet they're third and fourth in the standings. If you're them at this point in the race, how do you try and work up further?
That's tricky. Obviously, you want that track position, you want to be ahead, and especially seeing those battles up ahead, and you're almost going 3 wide up ahead on them, so you're seeing those cars closing up, so as soon as you can get past your competition, maybe you can just settle behind one of those faster cars. You might be able to save a little bit of fuel, think about the long game, but right now, it looks like all these guys want to do is get their track position, so they really want to overtake.
This is a really racy circuit, especially for GT3, as, Kincott looks up the inside of Speaker and Bowerman at the same time. Gets past Harris, but couldn't quite get to the inside of Bowerman like he wanted to, and is going to have to wait at least another corner before he can do that. And it looks like actually Harris was a car advancing from behind. I don't think he even passed Harris just yet, so or was already in front of Harris, rather, so holding him up just a little bit, but Speaker did get by Bowerman. Now we'll see if Brent Kincott can do the same. It's a 3-second gap up ahead. David Hicks leading over Rob Rodriguez. And there are not many close gaps inside the top 10. The closest in the top 15 even is Bobby Flack and Diego Eda. They work for 11th. Flack in that 11th spot. Eda there in 12th. And Joshua Lyon in 13th. So Joshua Lyon has fallen back to these guys and lost a couple of spots.
Yeah, lost 2 spots unfortunately. Oh, so maybe a little mistake by him. But yeah, he's still close to those two just ahead, and those two looks like they might engage in a battle soon, so that's really going to bring the Porsche back. So we're just going to have to wait and see how he reacts. Looks like we have a trouble for, Scarapoli. Just looks like he lost it on the exit of 7.
He did just have an issue, and he's already towed out of the pit, out of the car, off the racetrack, I should say, and back to the pit lane, and has already gotten out of the car. Dan Willis already out of the race, and Tyree Phillips, that red Audi that was involved in that lap 1 melee, out of turn 10, and Staropoli just loses it out of 7, and that's his day done.
Unfortunately, he just lost it on the curb. I was going to say it wasn't really a driver's mistake, but just the car looks like he got unsettled, and, well, that's all she wrote. And unfortunately for him, that's going to be it. Cutting back to this, Joshua Lyon lost one more position, so he drops to 14th. That was up into turn 3.
Yeah, Louvier took that spot away in car 88. So move Louvier up into the 13th position. And they're just ahead of Adolfo Perez and Jeff Castillo as well, who were in front of Ilya Speaker and Billy Bowerman. So these battles kind of running together from 10th on down, or I guess 11th on down to 20th positions. Milan Harris actually works on Brent Kincott. This is turn 6 now. And there's Korostecki, more contact for Korostecki in this race.
Yeah, a lot of contact. The number 46, Casey trying to go down the inside of turn 7. Great, beautiful move, actually.
That was.
Kept it clean. Really good move by the number 46. On the BMW as well. Seeing that front engine car doing those moves. Really good job by him. And look at that behind. He opened a window of opportunity for other drivers to take a chance. Oh, that Mercedes got quite a bit loose on the entry of the corner. But yeah, now he's going to have to defend. Looks like the Porsche just behind him got a little bit lost on the apex. He's going to lose a little bit of time. So a little bit of breathing room by him.
Here we go, Bobby Flack and Ilya Speaker up to turn number 1. And Bobby Flack takes that spot back away from car 6. And Kincott just had an issue. Brent Kincott in the pit lane. This actually might not be as much of an issue as I thought. He's just in. I think he's just taking his pit stop real early.
Oh, early. And I don't think, Andrew, this is a track where you should really undercut if you're coming out in clear air just due to the slipstream. You're going to gain at least a few tenths per lap.
Yes and no. Consider the fact that if you're in the slipstream, you're probably battling with somebody here, and that means you're losing some time.
Obviously, yeah, I guess it's a knife of, I don't know the saying in English.
Double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword, there we go. So, yeah, obviously, if you're battling, you're going to be losing time, but if he found himself in a pocket just between him and another driver, that would have been really beneficial, but, well, the number 177 made a gamble. I'm interested to see if it's going to pay off at the end of the race.
We'll see if it does, as Speaker and Bowerman now battle down to turn number 6. And they've lost touch, it looks like, with Bobby Flack over a second now to that gap, who was, let's see, Bobby is chasing Adolfo Perez, and he's got some time up ahead as well. Adolfo, though, working on Jeff Castillo. This is a battle for 14th.
It's about a 14. You can see really close between them coming down into turn 9 and 10. Porsche chasing a Ferrari, a German manufacturer chasing an Italian manufacturer, and we're in Austrian grounds. Yeah, so very, very different. But look at the run that the Ferrari got on the exit, and well, he's gonna have the position. Is that Lion struggling a little bit?
It is. Joshua Lion is really struggling today as Billy Bowerman pits this lap. Looks like Philip Badurka has had an issue. Was almost on pit entry there, but he gets back going in his Audi. Anyways, let's go back to those battles. Where was it? Bobby Flack, Adolfo Perez, and Joshua Lion. Here we go. As Bowerman is in the pit lane. Jeff Castillo in that blue Ferrari on the inside makes the move on Joshua Lion. And Lion started off really good, but he is really struggling as time goes on. Had a good qualifying effort, but not holding up in the race.
Yeah, it looks like that his Porsche is just losing a little bit of performance. Could be down to tires, could be, well, any factors. Oh, they make a little bit of contact on the straightaway, not really understanding each other. He's going to try to brave it around the outside. Really like to see this. And he's going to have a small advantage. He's going to have the outside through turns 5, but he's going to have the inside if he can get his nose there through turn 6. And yes, he goes really deep, even more contact. That's not going to help the 110 right behind him, but yeah, he's going to hold position. So really brave defending. He's moving back a little bit on the race, but he's definitely not making it easy.
Does not want to lose position 13 here, but you got to consider, risk versus reward, especially battling outside of the top 10. Do you really want to risk it this much? Continues to battle very tough. Defends over Castillo. Castillo a little bit sideways there, but now Lion gets sideways. That a turn, then 10 they go side by side. This battle will not end.
No, absolutely not. I don't remember the last time I saw two cars going side by side through 9 and 10, but well, they made a mistake and they're gonna go side by side. Look at that, 2 rows going side by side. Up, or down in turn 1. Oh! Lost it on his zone. No.
Wahuka Racing 110 goes around. Joshua Lion gets some damage, but he continues on. And now look at this pack headed up to turn 2. Korostecki coming up, as well as Milan Harris. Let's go on board with Cars 69 at the tail end of this group. He watches Korostecki go up the inside of Lion, and he's going to try and go around the outside of turn 3. Not much to be found there, but Korostecki can't hang on exit.
Yeah, the BMW shrugged a little bit on the exit, and you can see the Porsche. You struggle a lot. He might fall under pressure from the Mercedes just behind him. And yes, he's done. They're gonna go too wide, almost going defensive. And he's gonna lose the Mercedes, going really down to the inside. Yes, but look at the exit of the BMW. He might have something to answer. And oh, another car spun around.
Bobby Flack with problems out of turn 4, in turn 5, and he is around. And wow, his race just got turned over on its head.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was by himself. I'm not going to call it too early, but you can see just how much time Andrew he's losing. He has to wait for everybody to come back to get into a safe zone, which is really good to see. Really frustrating for a driver. Yeah, absolutely not.
Now he does.
Trying to maybe find a gap, turn off the TC maybe, and yeah, flicks the car up and back to racing speed.
Wow.
35th.
Let's move up the order a little bit to Diego Eda and Brandon Louvier. He said in Discord, actually, it's Louvier instead of Louvier. So we're going to go with Louvier now with Car 88. He's working on Diego here. Diego with that fuel strategy issue last week. Almost worked out so beautifully, JP. Recovering from that, rebounding from that's going to be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely stung, I think, from his point of view. He's definitely going to try to do a little better, but I hope he doesn't lose, a little bit of that. I guess you can say a little bit of those gambling strategies, because obviously it can work out brilliantly, but unfortunately it could backfire as well, like it did. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what he's going to bring to the table around here. Currently leading the pack, leading this small pack between him and Louvier just behind, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the McLaren brings to the table.
Let's just hope he doesn't lose that momentum that he brought to last week at Long Beach, and clearly, was going for it, had the eye on the race win, and I don't know that that's going to happen today. He's a little ways down in the order, and he didn't start all that great either. Started 19th, so down around 20th spot. It's not been the greatest day for him, but up into 11th, that's a really big improvement. He can easily get a few more of these positions ahead through strategy and attrition alone. So still with 23 minutes to go, if he can just net a solid top 10, I think he'll be okay. Milan Harris, though, not going to net a solid top 10. He has just spun around in turn 7 and is down now in 22nd with 23rd on the way.
Now he's going to lose a few extra positions, especially in this high-speed section of the racetrack, which is really unfortunate for him. Now we're gonna take a look at exactly what happened, and I wonder, Andrew, if it was that inside curb that we saw biting just a few laps ago, or was it contact? Now
Watch the
that I'm
second
looking,
car in line.
so we have a move just behind him, and oh, he didn't even touch the curb. The car just got lost on its own.
Porsche's struggling today, certainly at Red Bull Ring. I wonder what this means for our championship race for the Porsche Cup cars.
It's gonna be interesting, and I feel like, Andrew, this has to be due to the temperatures. Those high temperatures, we weren't really expecting it, were we? We're kind of used to those. Oh, as we have a car park around here.
This is in turn 3. Forestecchi at the center of it with Armando Bejeron and Blaine Sparling, rather. Let's go back and look at this now. A lot of replays today. Oh, this is going to be a fun one as well. They're going to work up the hill through turn 2 into turn 3. One more blimp shot from the blimp high above the track. And look at this. You can see it already building a 3 wide with Sykes up the inside, on the heavy on the brakes.
Oh.
And his move wasn't that bad. It's just the fact they were 3 wide. And GT cars, they're pretty large. So contact there with the BMW, the Mercedes, and the Ferrari up the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. That could have ended in, well, in a lot worse circumstances, but I don't think any of them got to like a substantial amount of damage. But as you can see, even more cars. Chris Winstone coming down to the pit lane. We saw a 9-second stop before, right, Andrew? So I guess that's the target we're aiming for, around 9-10 seconds. Definitely we're going to see some gambles, though.
It is a much shorter race here for the amateurs, only 40 minutes. So yeah, 9.83 seconds. That's got to be at least a few seconds of fuel between this race and the pro race, right? So I'm not surprised by a 9-10 second pit stop. Might even see some 11s, some 12s, and might even see some gambles around a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we might see 7 or 8 on the pro race, actually, judging by how much those guys save and obviously the crazy gambles. But Chris Winstone, he rejoins the track, and he's gonna have some work to do. He needs to get past these cars right ahead if he wants this small undercut to work.
He's in 20th now behind Avon Dorsey and ahead of Chip Witt, so he's right at the tail end of that melee we just saw in turn 3. Let's hope he gets a nice orderly way back onto the racetrack. He doesn't get caught up in any of that. Winstone doing pretty good today, was well up the order, I think just inside the top 10 when he pitted, so certainly don't want to see that go to waste.
Oh, absolutely not. If he loses that top 10 spot, he might be kicking himself. As you can see, back towards the top 5 even. We have a battle emerging, looks like, Andrew, between William Coffey and Joshua Benjamin.
Teammates.
Yeah, teammates. I wonder, will they race a bit harder than usual? Could we see a little bit of team orders? But we could also see here teammates working together, saving a lot of fuel. So this could work out really well for them, as we have even, it looks like, a couple of cars coming down the pit lane.
Zachariah Rosar is in, and that brings Brendan Louvier as well in car 88. So a Ferrari and a BMW. Pit lane is certainly well open here. And Louvier, oh goodness, that's not what you want. That's 2-3 seconds easily in the pit box that he just burned. Rosar's already off and away. 8 seconds.
7.98. Yeah, really good stop. And oh, Louvier.
Oh man.
Got a penalty?
I wouldn't think so. Just a lot of fuel there. Probably kicking
Really
himself, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously when a car is stuck, you can't do anything about it. You just have to wait for the refueling to be done. So yeah, really gonna hurt. So right now he needs to keep the pedal to the metal. Look at these guys keeping the pedal to the metal. A battle for just outside the top 20. 3 Porsches, 1 Ferrari. This is gonna get really fun. This is already a lot of fun to watch.
And Alan Dobbs, leading this battle now, has driven to this position of 20th from 42nd. 22 spots in one of the most unruly cars in the field. A lot of Porsches out there, and they're all having issues. He has moved up 22 positions, though.
Yeah, just keeping himself clean and doing lots of overtaking. That's a stat which we really want to see. It looks like he's already driving away from those guys.
Yeah. He's got this figured out. Pretty surprised, honestly. He's really got this worked out. I would not have expected this out of somebody who didn't put a qualifying lap in. I don't even think I saw him put a practice lap in. Started 42nd position, literally last, and has worked up through the field to 20th spot, just about halfway. That's really, really impressive there out of Alan Dobbs. Let's move up the order. Check in with Mike Braun and Leon Clover. Mike Braun led practice a little while ago in a McLaren of all things, and is looking pretty good in this race. 6th spot so far. That might change after pits, but just a solid day.
It's just a really solid day from him. I think he wants to keep this going, Andrew. I definitely think so. And can we talk a little bit about this livery?
Yeah, you know what? I don't recall who paints this now, but it is a pretty nice one. I like the metallic purple on it. I'm just glad we have more McLarens out in the field. I really like this car getting the recognition, getting the use that it deserves. It's one of the older GT3 cars in the service, certainly, but it still looks so good. It almost looks timeless. I say almost looks timeless. You can tell it's kind of early 2000s styling there, but it still looks so good.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you prefer this McLaren or the 720 GT3?
Oh, well, that's not even a challenge. As long as a McLaren spits flames, I want it, and I'll take the newest version of it. That's just how that works.
All right, easy choice for you. So iRacing, whenever you bring the 720, make sure, well, it's a barbecue fest up at the back.
I have nothing for you there. That was a good one. Barbecue fest. I like it. Will Coffey in the 4th spot, still chasing his teammate. Chris Winstone, though, and Avon Dorsey battling now. This is a side-by-side, is actually Winstone. Takes that spot away.
Oh, yeah, Winstone's not losing any time whatsoever, which is exactly what he needs, right?
Yes, he needs to get needs to get by as many of these cars as possible. You see Zachariah Rosar there as well in car 199 making this pass on Avon Dorsey. This is good for 17th as they run. If he can get it. Can't quite get clear of that Porsche just yet. Let's go on board. As he finally does get past mate, actually.
Yeah. We're going to go on board with the rear view camera, and you can see that Porsche losing a little bit of ground on the exit. Obviously, with the inside line not taking the appropriate speed. But look at this battle right here, Andrew. We have 3 cars, 2 Porsches, and a Ferrari going uphill. The Ferrari going a little bit defensive, and this is just inside the top 21st and 22nd, maybe. The 171 going really into those curves, and you can just tell how much that kills your momentum.
These 2 Porsches cannot separate, and they're not going very fast either. Chip Witt, 21st now. Milan Harris is down to 22nd. As Rob Rodriguez Jr., Will Coffey come down the pit lane. Early pit stops for these 2. You can see in a line. They're following, I think that's Dan Willis, maybe? It's a Muradin's Porsche. I'm not entirely sure who that is, but he's not on the lead lap. It is not our leader, David Hicks, as Rob Rodriguez and Will Coffey get fascia pairs, and they will head back out onto the racetrack. Will Coffey's pit timer eclipses 9 seconds, and he will follow Rob Rodriguez out, who actually had a longer stop.
Yeah, so there you go. So just managing to improve. Oh, unfortunately, Joshua Ryan is going to be struggling on the pit lane entry. Hopefully, no one comes into the pit lane this time. He gets the car straightened out. But
oh, yeah. That's Alan Dobbs. He's holding up. He's on the pit limiter already. No, don't get on the pit limiter yet. There's so much time. That's where the pit limiters. He just cost Alan Dobbs so much time.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, Alan couldn't even do what who was it? Sebastian Vettel did in China 2016, overtake on the pit lane entry. Yeah, really unfortunate. That's going to be a pass-through,
Oh,
actually.
my goodness. So a problem there for Alan Dobbs. As, let's see, Joshua Lyon, you're right, headed right back onto the racetrack. That's really silly. That is really silly, really unfortunate for Alan Dobbs. This drive back to the field from 42nd to 20th, and he gets held up by somebody who spun around and put the pit limiter on way too early.
Yeah, really unfortunate. It's going to cost him a lot of time, and obviously that mistake, Andrew, just overshooting your pit stall just by a tiny little bit.
Yeah, that's
really going to cost him. Yeah, so he needs to keep his pedal to the metal. He made up nearly 20 positions already, so he can try to get a few extras. As you can see, Kroom coming down in the pit lane. He was in 6th place, if I'm not mistaken, so this is a really important stop as well. He's going to be a 7, 8, 9. He's going to lapse 10 seconds, so not a quick stop.
So we might see pit stops for the pros in excess of at least 15 seconds. I know you're on the thought they might save more fuel than that, but I really don't think so. This is a very fast circuit, a lot of throttle time, not as much off-throttle time. I think we're going to see them burn some fuel today.
Yeah, these guys are not saving. These guys are not, I guess, not strategizing. They're trying to resolve it on raw pace, which I really like. Sees a good change of pace. Stevenson coming into the pits as well. And yeah, the currently fastest stop I think we had was a 7.98. So
that's a pass through for Stevenson.
Oh no, really unfortunate for him as well. You can see just how much time you lose, Andrew. Even though it's a small pit stop. The guys, well, they're going pretty fast on the straightaways as well. Now Lion comes down for his scheduled stop. And wow, a good qualifying session for him. It's turning out to a terrible race. He even missed his pit stall a little bit. Bobby Flack coming down the pit lane. We're just going to have to wait and see what his pit stall timer is. And it's...
Long 10, stop here.
11, 12. Oh, really long.
Wow. Lions taking tires, honestly, not a bad choice, I think, in the Porsche. If you're already out of this race, essentially, may as well take those tires. Here is Joshua Benjamin, one of the best runs we've seen Car 78 on in a very long time. Very enjoyable to see Joshua having a good day here at Red Bull Ring. We'll see if he can put this together in a full finish. Pit box time eclipses 10, 11 seconds, 11.18. That's still not that bad. We'll see how he compares to the drivers he was racing. Diego's in. 9.37.
That's a good one. That's a good one. He's going to make up a little bit of ground, maybe on the guys ahead. He's just going to have to nail, obviously, his pit lane entry and exit. And obviously, this exit entries as well is with that Armco barrier. It could be costly for you if you just take it a little bit quickly. And you can see this is a nice little battle. That's William Coffey just chasing down.
This is for second, effectively. This is Rob Rodriguez and Will Coffey and Joshua Benjamin.
Yeah, this is for second effectively after the stops, but on track right now, it's currently a battle for 6 between these two. And obviously, if you include Perez just ahead, battle for 5th place.
The top 5 yet to pit, those including David Hicks, Mike Braun, Leon Clover, Pablo Ferretti, and Adolfo Perez. If I recall from memory, that's a Ferrari, a McLaren, a Porsche, a McLaren, and a Porsche. The only one I'm unsure of is David Hicks as he rounds turn 10. No, he's back onto the front stretch and into turn 1, continuing on with no intention yet to pit, it looks like. He may come in this lap, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, as soon as he broke away, that 3-second gap, I think he was affording himself, Andrew, to take a little bit easier and maybe just save a little bit of fuel. He knew he had the overall pace over the guys, so I don't think there was any reason to try to stretch the gap if you can save and maintain it. So that could be a valid strategy for him, and well, he's definitely going to benefit from that as this battle's still going on. This is really good to see 4 cars straight in line. It looks like Will and Coffey actually jumped his teammate.
Yes, with that longer stop for Benjamin, he loses that spot to Will. And now they are nose to tail in opposite order, following Rob Rodriguez, and it was a pretty poor corner exit there for Will. He is really lugging up this straightaway.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to fight his teammate. His teammate actually won't fight him at all. Oh, it's just ahead. Rodriguez almost hits Perez, and that's going to cost him on entry, but looks like Perez actually messed up a little bit on the exit, and that might leave him vulnerable. Andrew, the Porsche is going to have to defend from the BMW just behind. You can see the difference in size between those two. The BMW of Rodriguez looks down the inside. He goes really deep on the braking, really shuts the door on the Porsche, and well, gets the position. 5th place right here. A really good move from Rodriguez.
Here come the long shot coffee, gentlemen. I think it's long shot coffee. I know it's long shot something or other. Hang on, we can get a look at it here on the side of the car. Is it long shot or is it energy drink maybe? Or just long shot racing. I could have sworn there was a drink along with that. And that'd be a perfect name, I think, for an energy drink. But anyways, I digress. Will Coffey in 7th spot looking at Adolfo Perez. That is a position for now, but pit stop's likely as David Hicks is in.
Yeah, David Hicks finally comes in. And
long stop though, 10.67.
Yeah, but he was, I guess, all right, the excuse I'm going to put for him not saving a lot of fuel is going to be he was punching the air quite a lot, so there we go.
Uh-oh, Pablo Ferretti deep in his box.
Yeah, just saw that McLaren reversing, 9.58 for the other McLaren, Pablo Ferretti. He's going to be costing a bit, but 8.37, that's actually real quick.
Yeah, on Clover, a couple of extra seconds compared to his compadres up here in the front of the field. And he'll get back out onto the racetrack. Ilya Speaker in, Adolfo Perez as well. So Adolfo pits out of the 5th or 6th position at the time, but will drop well down the order. Nicholas Sykes also in. He will now leave in that Mantis number 26, just ahead of Armando Bejeron. That was close. That was nearly enough for an unsafe release.
Yeah, that would have been an unsafe release. As you can see, the Ferrari, the 8. Well,
this is not good.
Unheard. Oh, Perez, no, that's going to be a penalty maybe.
You're right. It could be. I think you're right. My goodness.
Yeah, 40 seconds stopping. A 40-second stop go penalty and a 9-second. Yeah, it could be. And Nobles comes down to his first stop, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm just going to have to wait and see how long his stop is. You can see Brown. Oh, Willem Harris, 132.
Yeah, some really tough pit stops for most of these guys deep in the field. I think Harris had to come back in for something. He had already pitted. And Clarence Rosa in the pit lane for a very much extended period of time. Let's go back to live picture then. Well, back on the racetrack anyway. Joshua Benjamin in 4th, chasing Will Coffey in 3rd. Rob Rodriguez Jr. is 7 seconds back of our race leader, but is only a little ways up the road from these guys. Will Coffey and Joshua Benjamin, they can rein themselves back in and go battle, but it's going to take some effort as Pablo Ferretti is in the 9th position, chasing Chris Winstone for 8th.
You can see Chris Winstone just, well, oh, that Porsche is just blinking. That's going to really hurt the run of Pablo Ferretti on the exit, and he might, is that, no, that's not for position just behind, that's not Diego Air just behind, is it?
No, that is Andrew Korostecki in that car.
Yeah, so...
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Joshua Benjamin, the best run we've seen from him in a long time in any series, and he goes around here out of turn 3, and it's all gone away.
Yeah, he's going to... I think he's going to rejoin even outside. Yeah, he does. He rejoins outside of the top 10. Really unfortunate, and you can see him weaving a little bit, maybe in frustration as well. But that's going to be on the...
see if there's any damage.
Oh, it could be as well. But yeah, that happened on the exit of turn 3, and I wonder, Andrew, was it just too much throttle?
It's going to be curb on the exit, I think. Remember that? There's that massive, I call it a banana curb. It's a sausage curb, but it's yellow, so it looks like a banana to me. Catches the curb on the outside, and it just immediately whips that car around.
That's really unfortunate. Trying to use each and every single inch of the racetrack, and unfortunately just used a bit too much. That's going to hurt him to see that one on the replay. But yeah, unfortunately, he's going to drop outside of the top 10. He has pace to get it back into those few positions, but with 6 minutes, it's going to be a stretch.
Diego and Zachariah Rosa are doing battle here in 9th and 10th, or at least trying to do battle. Zachariah would like to think so anyway, as they're about a half-second apart. Rosa in a Ferrari for the first time, I think, all season. And Diego still in that McLaren as they work up to turn 1. Not too many battles persisting as this race goes on, but Nicholas Sykes is close to Blaine Sparling. This would be for 16th. And Armando Bejaran is not far behind.
No, he's not far behind. He could join this battle really soon. And you can see the Mercedes just flashing its headlights, Andrew. We saw a bit of flashing headlights in BSR early today. Do you think that's a little bit of the strategy, trying to distract a bit of the driver? And I absolutely love that shot. Absolutely.
I think it is just trying to get in the head. Of course, these guys battling. You want to try and use whatever you can against them, as Winstone has company from Pablo Ferretti. This is for the 7th spot. Out of turn 4 to turn 5. There's Rosar a little further back as well. And Diego actually just had a big mix-up. Lost a lot of time there out of turn 4. So Diego's back to Zachariah Rosar now. This is a good battle now for 9th again. Or at least it has the potential thereof anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is an all-out battle. It looks like Diego Arias is going to have to overtake the number 46 just here.
Again.
So, yeah, really unfortunate for him. He's going to lose a little bit of time on the entry. Oh, a little bit of contact between those two. That could have ended very, very terribly. Looks like this is Billy Bowerman. Just got spun around on the entry of 6. And, yeah, interesting.
Diego does have trouble here. I feel a bit like Formula 1 from Monaco. But anyways, let's go back and get a look at this. This is a problem for Diego Eda as he went by Korostecki. Rosar just behind in the blue Ferrari. Watch the orange McLaren. There's that contact. He goes on by, but then it messes his braking zone up and goes very deep into 9. Loses that spot. Korostecki pits. And Benjamin just misses it.
What a miss from Benjamin. If that had touched him, Andrew, I feel like today wasn't his day, but that was a really close call. Wow.
Armando Bejaran now working on Nicholas Sykes. This is for 17th. Battles all over the racetrack as we enter the final minutes. Just 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go here at Red Bull Ring for the amateur race. Armando taking a look down to the inside of 3, and he's going to go for it in the Mercedes. Gets down there. He's got the spot. Maybe. Side by side anyway.
Yeah, they're going to drag race down into the braking zone of turn 4. Looks like the Ferrari just got a little bit of an edge, but the door's still wide open on the inside. I wonder if he'll take it. Yes, he will. He's not going to waste this opportunity. He goes deep under braking. Unfortunately, he's going to have the tighter line. He's going to have the inside for 5, but the Ferrari might just have it a little bit on the exit. Andrew, I think they're going to go side by side through 6. I don't think neither of them will back out. No. Well, they take it a little bit smarter. The Mercedes just trying to get up out of line, but unfortunately he's going to hold position.
Yeah, Armando Bayron backs out of it, thinks better of it. Good decision there, and oh goodness, John Kroom, he's blinking. He comes back in now in the 4th spot, but had me scared for a second that maybe he was about to drop out of this race in the final 2 minutes, and we've seen that plenty of times before, and certainly don't want to again. Brendan Louvier working with Billy Bowerman here. This is for 14th. I say working with, more like battling with, sparring with, as they're ahead of Blake Sparling. This is for, again, position 14, Louvier in 15th. Good battles we get down to the final 2 minutes.
Yeah, this is the time to overtake. You can see Billy taking quite a bit of entry curb, but unfortunately for him, the BMW just ahead took quite a bit of the exit curb, but looks like the door is still open on the inside. Is this going to be a repeat of what we saw between Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc a few years ago in Austria? The BMW goes down the inside, goes a bit deep, and I think Billy might have an answer on the exit. No, he gets a little bit squirrely, so yeah, Andrew, I share your words. That was a good move right there.
Good move from Louvier. Gets that spot away. That's good for 14th spot. And he's going to defend now to turn number 4. And he's going to hold that spot, it looks like. Bowerman not able to do anything here, but Sparling is going to take a look. No dice there either. Up at the top 10, Pablo Ferretti working on Chris Winstone. This is for 7th. Would be a good spot for Pablo to grab, as I've just heard a car. Don't tell me Winstone just lost power. No, I don't think he did. I heard, hopefully you guys heard it in the sim as well, there was definitely a crunching sound, like somebody lost a motor, but everybody continues. I don't see anything. That from maybe Bobby Flack in the pit lane. He's just gone down to the pit lane. He might have been the issue. I'm not sure.
Hopefully not. He's up in the jacks as well, which is quite worrying, especially with 1 minute only to go. You can see this Pablo Ferretti really chasing down Winstone. Andrew, this is the second to last lap, if I'm not mistaken, so opportunities are running out. There's still plenty around the Red Bull ring, but unfortunately, still 4/10 away.
Ready here chasing Winstone down for the 7th spot. Meanwhile, David Hicks off to the races on his own. He's in turn 8. Just a nice, quiet Thursday evening drive for car 20. And this will be his 3rd win out of 3 races that he's run. 3rd win out of 4 races that have been run. He missed Long Beach last week, taking the drop week. Maybe not a bad idea, but certainly not what I personally would have done, as he will exit turn 10 and send us on to just one more lap here in Austria. It's just a little over 2 miles for him to go to grab a 3rd win of the season. It's just incredible, the pace he's got.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just insane, the number 20. And Andrew, we saw a bunch of drivers moving up and, well, moving up, I guess, on classes on BSR. Could we see something similar happen to NARL?
The only concern is when you move them from an entirely different race to the other, you know, from amateur in this case to Pro-Am, is it is a completely different race against completely different drivers. If you move them within the classes in the same race, that's not quite as bad. So we'll see what NARL decides to do here, but he is certainly classing the field, outclassing the field here in the amateur races. Oh, no, you're kidding. Not 2 weeks in a row, Diego. Actually, this isn't even 2 weeks in a row. This is a pass-through. Oh, boy.
Oh, no. That's even... I don't think that's even worse, actually, but really unfortunate for him.
Mike Braun, troubles on the final lap.
Oh, no. Did he run out of fuel? I don't think he did.
No, he's got damage. He's had a spin. He's had a crash, potentially. So he falls back out of 5th position to 6th. Might have Chris Winstone here close. Winstone and Ferretti still close, but not enough for Winstone to, or for Ferretti to do anything, as the Maradness number 20 will work down to turn number 9, and here in just a couple of short moments will claim a 3rd win on the season. One at Road Atlanta to open the season, one at Sebring to continue on, and is going to put another one together this evening. Congratulations to David Hicks, another race win for car 20.
An absolutely dominant performance by him. He's going to have quite a bit of time. Then Rob Rodriguez is going to cross the line 9.8 seconds behind in 2nd place. William Koff is going to finish up the podium. And, well, a really good race, Andrew, throughout the pack. Really happy about it. I'm actually really surprised that we saw this much action, especially before the pits.
Letting the rest of the field come on through. Some position changes on the final lap, it looks like. Ferretti not able to pass, though. Let's see, Rosar and King Cot. Rosar loses a position on this final lap. He's down into the 11th spot now. King Cot takes 8th. Oh, it's a fuel issue for Zachariah Rosar. Will anybody help him? Ilya Speaker barely takes that spot away. It does not help Rosar, and Zachariah has to settle for 12th position now as the rest of the field comes on through. Billy Bowerman also slow. He might have had the same issue. I think he's got a pass-through, and that's not going to count. He's going to have to take a large penalty with that one.
Oh, that's going to be a big post-race penalty. You can see even more cars, and yeah, I think running out of fuel is around here. Yes, it's going to be normal for a few of these guys, especially with how much on-throttle time we have as we have the rest of the pack finishing up. But yeah, running out of fuel, Andrew, on the final straightaway while you see cars approaching at full speed, that really hurts.
So as everybody finishes up here, Billy Bowerman also with problems on this lap, and I can't believe that. That I think is going to be a massive penalty for him, and race is over now, which means he does drop down to the last car on the lead lap. He will be credited with 26th position, only ahead of Austin Hodel, Dominic Angelico, and the rest of the guys that were lapped or worse. Let's go ahead and take a first look here, JP, at our unofficial race results, led off by David Hicks.
Yeah, David Hicks with a really dominant performance wins the race ahead of Rob Rodriguez. William Koff is going to finish in 3rd. John Koom in 4th. Leon Clover is going to finish in 5th place ahead of Mike Braun. Chris Winstone in 7th. Pablo Ferretti in 8th. Joshua Benjamin in 9th. And Brent Kincott in 10th place.
So a big win there for David Hicks. On down to 11th, it's Ilya Speaker in car number 6, Zachariah Rosar in 12th, Diego Eda there in 13th, Brendan Louvier in 14th spot, Blaine Sparling 15th, Armando Bejaran in 16th position, then it's Nicholas Sykes. Alan Dobbs does make it back to the top 20, albeit much further back than I think he would have been had that issue not arisen into the pit lane. It's Kerry Corcoran in the 19th spot, all the way up from, 40th position or so? Really good day for both of those drivers, and Chip Witt takes 20th.
21st place to go the ways of Advan Darcy. David Stevenson is going to finish 22nd. Adolfo Perez in 23rd. Philip Durka in 24th. Tyler Brown 25th. Billy Bowerman is going to finish in 26th ahead of Brian Long. Dominic Angelico in 28th. Austin Hodel in 29th. And Shaw Patterson Andrew in 30th place.
Finishing 31st, you will find car number 67, Chad Nobles. 32nd, Joshua Lyon in car 123. It's Clarence Rosa in the 33rd spot. 34th for Dean Kerr, then it's 35th for James Colborn. Bobby Flack, Andrew Korostecki, Milan Harris. Oh my goodness, Milan Harris down there in 38th position. Jeff Castillo and Eric Staropoli round out your top 40, followed only by Dan Willis and Tyree Phillips in 41st and 42nd. We'll hand things over then, JP. We've got David Hicks alongside, and he's all yours.
So David, well, coming to Austria on a GT3 car, how fun is that?
It was fun, but I wasn't overly familiar with the track, so it was pretty intimidating coming into this week.
So not being too familiar, but starting first, leading each and every single lap of the racetrack. I'm pretty sure you took the fastest lap of the race as well. What is the secret?
I mean, a lot of practice, and then I got lucky today. Earlier today, I was practicing, and Coach Stu saw me in a session, and he joined and noticed I was doing some things wrong in the 3rd sector, and he helped me clean that up, and that it really made my lap time start to drop off.
So I guess that's a good opportunity to segue. How important do you feel like is for each and every single driver to even get just a little bit of coaching from a pro driver?
Oh, it's huge, because if without their guidance, you're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, where they can lead you and say, this is what you want to do. You want to brake earlier, you want to brake later, you want to carry more speed, you want to compromise the entry. And unless you have years and years of experience like those guys, you don't know those intuitively. And so it's priceless. You have to do it, really.
And talking about next week, how confident are you to repeat this result we just saw today?
Well, I don't think I've ever ran a lap at Zolder, so it'll be the same thing. Hopefully I can get a lot of practice in and try to be competitive next week.
Well, absolutely. We're definitely going to keep an eye out for you, especially with this performance. It was absolutely stellar. With that being said, David, I'm going to let you focus for next week, and, well, hopefully we can talk to you then.
Hopefully.
Well, Andrew, that was David Hicks. Well, he sounds pretty happy. I mean, he should be leading each and every single race. That number right there, started, currently, and finished. Well, that number, it's just one.
Yeah, held first the entire day. David Hicks just is on something else in this amateur field, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. He seems like he's got this GT3 thing figured out. Let's go on down, though, to second place. Rob Rodriguez with a really good day today, and likely going to have to hand over that sim here in a second. Rob, your race went pretty nicely. I'm sure Bryce going to have a good one later, but a big second place for you today at Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I was waiting for that for a while, and yeah, for sure, I got to thank Bryce. We actually did some coaching this week, or he coached me. I'm his dad, but I know where he's better than I am, and that really helped. So it was a good race, kind of mostly by myself, but just trying to keep it consistent and keep it on the track, because it's easy to go off in Red Bull and get off tracks or even slowdowns, which I think is what hurt William. First or second lap, I think he was in front of me and got a slowdown, and that's how I was able to get the second position.
Now, I talk about David Hicks having things figured out in GT3. Clearly, Bryce does as well. How big of a tool is he to lean on? Obviously, you credit him with a little bit of help here tonight, but just how important is that? He's got the YouTube channel and everything else going, and he's doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's massive. You know, even though we're not racing in the same category, but he's still my teammate, and because we're racing same tracks and everything, so it's huge. You know, I have someone to chase. We compare our telemetry, our lap times. We do sessions, just me and him together during the week, just to work on side-by-side racing and passing and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I learn from him, and so it's a good resource to have in-house. So I consider myself very, very fortunate.
And we've got some pretty exciting racetracks coming up the rest of the season. Circuit Zolder next week. Do you have any experience at Zolder previously, or is that going in blind next Thursday?
Actually, Zolder is one of my favorite tracks. I like tight, twisty tracks, short tracks, and so Zolder is one of my favorite tracks. I'm really looking forward to that. I think I'm going to stay in the BMW. It's working for me now, and you know, I'm just going to stick with what's working and what's familiar and comfortable. I think that's the key for me, is to, if I'm really comfortable with the track and the lines, you know, then I can get to the limit a bit easier versus being kind of unsure. So yeah, really looking forward to next week and the rest of the season, to be honest. So.
Now, Charlotte is up next after Zolder. It's Charlotte, then VIR, then Interlagos. Any feelings about those? Do you think your car choice might change up? It seems like a lot of Ferraris and even McLarens out there today.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, today was pretty much dominated by Ferraris, at least in the AM category. You know, for now, like I said, I think I'm going to stick to what's working for me, if it ain't broke, as they say. And I think for me, getting the car to the limit is going to be key versus, let's say, choosing a car that might be, you know, hypothetically a tenth faster, but I'm not able to get there. So just getting comfortable, getting familiar, putting the car where I want it on the track, throughout, you know, throttle brake, all those kinds of things. For me, that works. I'm a more methodical type of driver. And if that, you know, if that's working for me, then great. I mean, for sure, VIR I think would be strong for the BMW. Not too sure about Interlagos and Charlotte Roval with those long straights and banks. I think also it would be a strong track for the BMW. So I think that's my goal, is to stick with it for now.
There you go, Rob Rodriguez sticking to his guns here at the BMW M4. Congratulations, Rob. Second place this evening. A very, very strong day. We'll see you next time out at Zolder.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Rob Rodriguez Jr. with a really, really good day here. Had a good one at Long Beach as well, but ended up falling victim to William Coffey there in the closing stages, who got that second spot away and earned his interview with us last week. So Rob getting it this week is pretty darn cool for Cars 66. JP, one race done, one race to go. What do you make of it so far?
Oh, this was a fantastic one. I hope the pros and pro-ams do follow a little bit, you know, of, I guess, not following a lot of our strategy, not really holding back on overtakes and just taking chances. I doubt we're going to see that. I think we're going to see a lot of fuel saving, but, well, sometimes that sets up, Andrew, for a fantastic, last dash to the finish.
We do still have one race to go this evening, but if for some reason this is it for you, you're going to tune out of our coverage of the North American Racing League at the Red Bull Ring, let's go ahead and invite you to come along to some of our other races coming up next week. Tuesday afternoon/evening. Oh, that time's off again. I'll have to fix that, but it is not 4 p.m. Eastern. That'll be 3 p.m. Eastern here on PitStop TV on Tuesday. That is 8 p.m. UK time for the British Sim Racers at the Sonoma Raceway. That is MX-5 cars. So that is the Mazda MX-5, the Mazda Miatas at Sonoma Raceway. Going to be a lot of fun. It's the shorter course as well, the old NASCAR course that NASCAR is actually going back to this year. That will be, I think, a blast. A 2-mile course, not very long. It's a lot like Red Bull Ring, actually, in that it's got a lot of elevation change, technical corners, flowing corners. It is a good mix of things, and it's on that shorter side. In fact, even shorter than here in Austria. Wednesday is the Outlaw Sim Series, 7:30 Eastern at the Iowa Speedway. Race number 8 now, I believe, for those guys as they continue on through their season. And Wednesday as well at 7:30 Eastern, we've got coverage of the IORL IndyCar Series race number 6 at the Michigan International Speedway. So a lot coming at you here in this next week, and you can see that vacancy for that second Tuesday slot this coming week as North American Racing League's Porsche Cup Series takes a week off before their finale right back here at the Red Bull Ring. That is it, though, for race number 1. We've got race 2 coming up in just a few moments, and by race 2, I mean the Pro and Pro-Am race for the evening. It's been fun so far at the Red Bull Ring, but we've still got 50 minutes of GT3 action to go. Do not go anywhere. More racing here on PitStop TV to come. Welcome back to the virtual Red Bull Ring. One race out of the way for today, but that means we've got 50 minutes of action coming up in literally just moments as seconds dwindle down in practice. That means Pro and Pro-Am qualifying is moments away. JP, the amateur race won by David Hicks once more. Muradness is on one heck of a run here in the North American Racing League, but I feel like there's some extra contenders today in this Pro-Am race that are going to change things up.
Absolutely. Pretty sure there's going to be a lot of contenders that not only want to get the crown back for them as well, but obviously, just to upset a few other drivers, really upset the championship, get their names in the top 10, and obviously move up to the table. So this is obviously a really important race for a lot of these drivers. I just can't wait to see what they're all going to bring to the table, starting first, obviously, in qualifying.
There's even a newcomer that just led practice, Juan Bustamante, that we're going to learn a whole lot about, I feel like, in this race. Let's go ahead and go trackside now as we are into the sim, and we can see these guys are getting ready to head out for qualifying. Andre Melcher's one of the first on the racetrack, and there is his BMW today. Predator proudly displayed on that hood, and he's going to have to get those NARL decals on. He might face a penalty today. NARL decals are a big deal. The banners and number boards are a big deal to this series. They do go a long ways, so he's going to have to get those sorted out very, very quickly as Justin Sang works on down this straightaway headed to turn 4. He's got him on. Matthew Dench, 5-star Motorsport. It seems like not in this GT3 category. He's got Red Bull on that McLaren as he heads down to turn 4.
Interesting Red Bull livery, but
it works out here. Yeah,
it could bring good luck. A Red Bull livery and a Red Bull ring. Hopefully for him, he can repeat what Max Verstappen just did last year, was it? I think it was. Nicholas Rubilar, currently on track. Hunter McDaniel as well on a Porsche. Scar Reister on a BMW. So, Andrew, we saw quite a few Ferraris and not a lot of BMWs on the amateur race. It's a complete opposite.
BMW there for Fabio Zamperlini and Bruno De Carmo in car 14 for full-time esports. Here's Blake Scott, also in a BMW. Simon Nicholson, though, is in a 5-star Motorsport Audi. 5 stars, 4 rings for that guy. And Mark Scott headed down to turn number 9 in a BMW as well. Paulo Gadai out there is in a BMW. A lot of BMWs in this race. Reed Gibson in a McLaren there. Juan Bustamante is in a BMW. So, yeah, I think the BMW certainly have something going on for him here. How about John Sedlak? Out of New Jersey. He's got a Porsche. No change there. And Nathan Lewis, your points leader headed today. And that's actually something we've got to recap once again. Back in a BMW. I like the look here for car 27. Let's quickly talk about these point standings again, JP. It's rather important for this series. Nathan Lewis leading with no wins. Gustavo Ariel there in second space, just 6 points out. And Dominic Olivier and Juan Blanette tied for third and fourth.
Yeah, really close between the top 4. Obviously, that battle for third place as well. Just tie it up. We can see, a kind of a big gap, I guess you can say, in 13 points between Hunter McDaniel and Martin Chris for 5th and 6th. And then obviously just 2 points behind Martin to Nicolas Rubilar. So really close. Just behind him, Andre Melcher's bad luck on a few rounds. And when he didn't have bad luck due to his internet injury, he went on to win. So we're just going to have to wait and see what he does around here. And obviously, I guess a few drivers that were not in the top 10 for the Pro or Pro-Am class, they want to get their names out there, so I should expect a lot of drivers to be quite aggressive. But obviously, if they want their names out, they need to be clean as well.
We'll see what these guys can do here at the Red Bull Ring. Elliott White is on the racetrack in car 27 in a BMW. We had the in an Audi thing at Long Beach last week. I think we've got in a BMW here today. Victor Miranda in a BMW. Gustavo Ariel in a BMW. Juan Blanette in a BMW. Mitchell Ian Green in a BMW. Neil Bledsoe in a Ferrari. How about that? Mark McDonald in a BMW. Lucas Souza in a Ferrari. And Marcos Nunez in a BMW out of Iberia. So a lot of BMWs today. BMW Cup, including this guy who just went fastest in qualifying.
Yeah, currently this guy I was going to mention, Gustavo Ariel, 2nd place in the championship, just goes fastest by 99,000 ahead of the number 52. Melcher's currently sitting 1.29 tenths behind this guy. So really close qualifying, and we're just gonna have to wait to see what the number 52 Melchers has to respond. Maybe a few extra drivers that have not set a lap, like Matthew Dench or Nicolas Rubilar.
On board here with Juan Bustamante. as he heads down to turn number 3 and gets his laps back underway. He towed back to the pit lane after his first lap, so it seems like a lot of these guys opting to go with just the tow back strategy. I don't like that personally. I like the tire temps, but these guys certainly disagree, and they're the ones with the steering wheels, and I'm the one with the mic for a reason. Here's Lucas Souza. Mitchell Ian Green goes up to 9th. Reister in 10th. And there is Scott Reister, looking to turn things around this season. He's one of the top Pro-Ams so far, behind only Bryce Rodriguez. How about that?
Yeah, really good run for him so far. He needs, well, to improve a little bit because Bryce, well, he did a fantastic lap, didn't he, Andrew? 4 tenths away from pole, currently in 5th place. That's almost 7 tenths a second. I guess just over 7 tenths of a second ahead of Scott Reister, as you can see.
One of the few Ferraris.
One of the few Ferraris, and well, he does a good lap. Does that set him inside the top 10?
Yes,
he does, obviously.
He already was.
Place,
yeah, he's 7th now. Matthew Dench goes up to 8th, just behind Bryce. And Bryce is less than 0.02 of a second off of Juan Blanat, who's only 1.5 hundredths off of Nathan Lewis in 5th. And of course, he is only just over 1/100th of a second behind Nicholas Rubelar. And our top 3 are very close. We don't usually see this. Andre Melchers is very close to Juan Bustamante, and Juan is also within 1/10 of Gustavo.
Yeah, this is a really close qualifying so far. You can see just how much of the edge of the track they're using to extract as much time as possible. You can see pretty much cutting the grass on the inside right there. So, yeah, really a game of fine margins right here, Andrew. Oh, and looks like this lap has already gone to the scrap book.
Juan Blanat, good-looking BMW there, in car number 89. Bryce Rodriguez stays in that 7th spot. Marcos Nunez into the top 10, looking good in that BMW. A little bit wide there at turn 10, though. Going to have to be careful of that. Neil Bledsoe on the racetrack in a Mantis Ferrari. Teammates to Nicholas Sykes, it looks like. Mitchell Ian Green out there in his BMW. All silver, looks like.
An interesting livery right here for the number 79. Victor Miranda looks like he's going to be finishing up his first lap. So as usual, leaving for the last possible minute to do his qualifying runs. We're going to have to see where he stacks up, Andrew. Obviously, we know he's really strong. Well, he's a championship contender, really strong championship contender back in the Porsche Cup. Currently not gone his way on the GT3 side of things. So this lap should be it needs to be very important for him if he wants a shot at starting inside the top 5, maybe challenging, obviously, Nathan Lewis, Blanat, and Rubelar as well. He comes across the line for a 128.9. And that's gonna be
decent. That's 8th.
6 tenths of a second.
It's 8th quick, though. That's really not that bad. Qualifying lap scores, it comes down to such small margins that I think you're okay. If you're in the top 10, I think you're okay. You don't necessarily have to be there on every 10th in qualifying. I think you can be okay a little bit off as Juan Blanat goes up to 4th quick, ahead of Nicolas Rubelar and Nathan Lewis. Nathan Lewis a little bit on his back foot today. Marcus Nunez dropped out of the top 10 now. And Brian Zinn trying to get another lap down. He is in car 173, still in that piggy BMW.
Yeah, the Pinky Pig, the Porsche ran for Le Mans in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, looks really good. What?
It's been a minute. It's been a little bit since that car ran. And
it's crazy to think that 2018 is so far away already.
Hunter McDaniel, a bit of a different car. We'll just leave it at that. It's outside the box, certainly. As he works around turn number 8, does not have a time in yet. We'll see if he can get one here this time. Already tracking at a 118, 119. It's going to be close. 24, 25. It's going to be a little off pace, I think. 27, 28, 29, and 30. Well, 29.5 across the line. If that stands, it's good for 18th, and it does. So he will go 18th quick so far, just behind Elliott White and in front of Scott Reister. The pros are alive today. Bryce Rodriguez is the only non-pro driver inside the top 18.
19. Oh, 18, yes. That is insane, isn't it? He's really the odd man out there, but really doing a fantastic job. And he's in a comfortable position. Obviously, he's close to 6th place, but he has a 2.5-tenth gap, nearly 1.5-tenth gap to Victor Miranda.
As these guys finish up their runs, Andre Melchers is back on the track. He's going for a last-second run here, JP.
This is really important. We're just going to have to wait to see what he can do. Currently, 1.29 tenths away from pole. He needs to find that gap. Gustavo Ariel managed to find it. he can too. Obviously, each and every single driver can find that time as well. It's going to be a question of fine margins.
Following along with Andre Melchers, as this is going to be the last opportunity for anybody here in qualifying. He is on his 3rd lap, so this lap will stand as long as he does not take a 1X somewhere. Let's go on board with him. Car 25, that's a bit wide there between 6 and 7. Wide again, but he's using all the racetrack he can. He wants to go up there into 2nd or 1st. A bit wide again. It's at 7. Gotta be careful.
Absolutely, only 2 corners to go, only 2 braking zones left. He needs absolutely pinpoint perfection around here. You can see rocking that Lando Norris helmet coming outside of turn number 10.
Oh, he had to check his steering there.
Oh, and that's gonna be it.
He knew. He knew as soon as he had to check his steering, as soon as he wasn't sure of his turn in there at 10, he knew that wasn't going to be a good lap. Takes the impact there out of turn 10 and validates the lap time and everything like that. And that will be it for qualifying for the Pro-Am race. Weather, let's see how that changes here. It's warm, but not as warm as the amateur race. So these guys getting a better set of track conditions, as the track temp just dropped a ton from 75 degrees in the air to still 75 degrees in the air, but from 102 on the track to 97 on the track. Let's go ahead and get ready then for our grid to walk down and meet our starting order. On pole, you've got Gustavo Ariel for full-time esports with a newcomer, Juan Bustamante there in car number 52. We'll see if Juan can shake this field up a little bit, and I think that's a good thing. We always like a little bit of extra competition to change things up and keep these guys fresh. Starting 3rd, you'll find Andre Melchers in car 25. Didn't like that qualifying run. Chucked it into the barriers there at the end. Starting 4th, it's Juan Blainat. Starting 5th, you'll find car 7, Nicolas Rubilar. Won the first 2 rounds of the season. Nathan Lewis starts from 6th position. Starting 7th, it's Bryce Rodriguez, your Pro-Am pole sitter by some 12 positions. And Victor Miranda in the 8th spot. To round out your top 10, though, it's the Australian Matthew Dench and Bruno de Carmo, the Brazilian.
11th place will go the ways of Marco Nunez into his number 23. Dominic Olivier is going to start on the number 99, just alongside him in 12th place. Row number 7, we're going to have the inside to Simon Nicholson in the number 55, and Fabio Zamperlini in the number 37 on his outside. Neil Bledsoe is going to start on the number 21 on the inside lane, 15th. 16th place will go the way of Mitchell Green on his number 19 machine. Row number 9 is going to start with Elliott White on his inside, Hunter McDaniel in 18th place, just on his outside. Row number 10, Andrew, we're going to have on the inside line the driver of the number and the name of, well, Scott Reiser, 2nd place in Pro-Am, and alongside him, Reed Gibson.
Starting 21st is Paulo Goday, a race winner a couple times already this season. I forget if it's once or twice. Anyways, he starts from 21st in car 193. Mike Galbraith there in the 122 starts from 22nd. Starting 23rd, it's John Sedlak in car 203 with Mark McDonald alongside. And starting 25th, it's Lucas Souza in car 106, joining Blake Scott in row number 13. Row 14 looks like this. Mark Scott on the inside, Brian Zinn on the outside with just 1 row behind, and that's made up by Justin Sang and Pierre Thompson if Pierre takes the grid. Pierre has not done so just yet, hasn't even taken to the car in the pit lane just yet, so we'll see if Pierre joins us for today's event. 30 cars then, ready to go for 50 minutes of racing. One of the lighter fields, certainly lighter than the amateur race we saw a little bit ago. And we are being led to the green flag again by Gustavo Ariel of Full-Time Esports. Boy, things are going to change. A whole lot of BMWs up front, a few Ferraris sprinkled in betwixt, and we are ready to go for race number 4 for the pros and Pro-Ams. Green flag is out. We're racing at Red Bull Ring. Already contact. Big issues in turn 1.
A very different
Bruno
start from what we
Carmo
had
with big problems.
in the AM, and we can already see a Full-Time Esports driver with a lot of problems. This is the number 99 as well. Looks like he dropped to the back end of the grid. But yeah, the BMW engine already taking a few scars as we head up to turn number 3. Looks like so far the top 10 remains, well, clean, and everybody within their position, everybody pointing at the right direction. So the trouble point looked like it was turn 1.
Headed to turn 4 we go. You can see the entire field snaking about. A move there from Nathan Lewis for 4th on Juan Bustamante. And maybe some contact. It's tough to tell. They work now into turn 5 and 6. Juan's going to have to follow him behind, but he says no. He's down to the inside of Lewis, and yes, finally relinquishes that spot.
Yeah, unfortunately has to yield, but a beautiful move already we're seeing, and that's exactly what we want to see, just how close some of the cars are, Andrew. The precision you need to be able to run that close to the car ahead is absolutely insane, and you can see drivers are, well, they're not afraid to do so.
Crashing there.
Oh,
Justin Singh. Bernardo Carmo again, and oh, you're kidding. Olivier, I think that was, absolutely nails the Scott, whichever Scott that was, and they've got more crashing in turn 7. The leaders, though, going to complete lap number 1, and that is, well, the first lap in the banks. Gustavo Ariel ahead of Andre Melchers, Juan Blanat, and Nathan Lewis. Juan Bustamante there in 5th, and hey, Bryce Rodriguez hanging on to that spot up ahead.
And just holding on currently for 8th place. Really good start for him and maintaining that gap. Paulo Godoy looks like he made a few places and just behind Scott Reiser. You can see the whole field making the way up into turn number 3, Andrew. This is a really good shot. This really gives you, oh, I guess an idea of how many cars we're watching around here. It's insane.
All right, so usually Matthew Dench is with 5-Star Motorsport. I think he still is technically, but not in one of their liveries this evening in the McLaren. He is just ahead of what would be his teammate of Simon Nicholson, though. So 9th and 10th, these two guys ride. And they're chasing Bryce Rodriguez, the Pro-Am. I wonder what their game plan is for this race, JP. 2 teammates in a row. We see teammates work together before, obviously. And we know they'll try and flip-flop strategies a little bit, try and be close, but maybe a little far off so they can see what works. But I really do wonder what the approach is here, both out of Australia and both, well, very close to the racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see them working together. Obviously, running 2 completely different cars as well, the McLaren and the Audi. So,
they at least have some of the same temperament. I'll give them that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Andrew, so far it's going to be hold back a little bit. You can see pretty much the whole top 10 essentially just holding in a single file right here. So everybody's going to be trying to save a little bit of fuel, as much fuel as they can, obviously. The one driver who will definitely struggle is going to be this guy right here, Gustavo Ariel, punching the air, Andrew, currently a 1.1 second gap. He could be pushing to try and break away from Melchers, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Let's go on board with Bustamante here in 5th position, chasing down Nathan Lewis. A low engine note, but I don't think he's put the clutch in there. I think the BMW just sounds a bit quieter.
And maybe, obviously, in the beginning, we could also see a few guys just, well, lifting, essentially, trying to use that hill to slow them down as well. Obviously, it's an uphill braking zone to turn 3. And, but yeah, everybody just kind of holding position and kind of just going smooth sailing for the time being. Obviously, only 4 minutes into the race, but yeah, you need to be close. These drivers will gonna have to push a 1 minute to keep themselves close to the next car ahead. Otherwise, well, their strategies just won't work.
They'll head through 6 and 7, out of turn 8, and back down to the back end of the lap. It's gonna be a quiet race, I feel like. There's not as many cars in this race. There's a couple of new guys, not a whole lot of battling, I feel like, up front. And you know what, we can go ahead and take the grid shot here and just, you know, take a look at the standings once more. Think about who is in this race for points. Nathan Lewis, certainly. Gustavo Ariel as well. So Gustavo makes a lot of sense to be pushing here on lap number 1, or well, lap 4 now, and holding on to position number 1. Dominic Olivier, though, he's way down the order in 27th. This will likely pull him out of immediate contention, but not entirely out of contention for the title just yet. As, I mean, that's really, really killer to his day. Juan Blanat is in this. He is in the 3rd spot. So we're watching currently cars 15, 89, 27, and maybe 12 if Hunter McDaniel can get back up there. But Hunter is down in 15th spot right now.
Yeah, really not the race he needs right now. Currently, obviously sitting in 15th place. You can see he's battling actually just around here on the extra number 3. Yeah, and a Porsche behind a BMW. He's gonna go down the inside actually, so not wasting any time, and he might just get this a little. I don't think there was any contact actually. He just, well, ran the BMW off the road and, well, pretty much cleared him already. So he's gonna have that position at least for the time being. But I like what I'm seeing from some of these guys, you know, just already going for positions, Andrew. They know that track position is important. Obviously, strategy is going to be really important later on, but, well, if the driver ahead of you, you feel like you're way faster, there's no reason why to stick behind. But look at this. It's definitely not over.
On board with Elliott White on the nose cam. as he sits right in behind Hunter McDaniel, and Hunter pulls away with that 14th position now. See some battles further back. Reed Gibson, John Sedlak, and even Paulo Goday is this far back in the Pro-Am class. The Pro-Am class, I feel like, is thinned out, and the Pro class beefed themselves up. A lot of them coming out of the woodworks this weekend, and, well, today, and really looking fast so far today. Just absolutely putting a beating on this field. Bryce Rodriguez, the best of the Pro-Ams, and looking like a pro today, only 5 seconds off of the race leader. Meanwhile, second place in class is Scott Reister, all the way down in 17th position.
That's crazy. And, I guess it's kind of weird, actually, isn't it, Andrew? I feel like one of those more technical tracks we would have seen something like this, but I guess you can call a simple track like Red Bull Ring. It's kind of weird seeing only one Pro-Am driver in the top 10, only one Pro-Am driver in the top 16, and the rest, well, just dropping back. It's kind of weird, but it just highlights the quality of each and every single pro driver as well. But yeah, it's really fun to see, you know, this separation. Obviously, as you mentioned, Scott Reister down to 17th, but second place in his class. I don't think we've said that too many times about the Pro-Am class.
No, and in fairness, we opened things up at Road Atlanta, where things can obviously get chaotic, and then we went on to Sebring, where things were chaotic just because it's Sebring. Something about those two courses, they just tend to be a little more wild and certainly have some great racing than Long Beach last week, and I think that's all that needs said about Long Beach, is it was Long Beach. So to come to a place like Red Bull Ring, it's a little more conventional, I guess, in that aspect, and we're seeing a little bit of that separation between Pro and Pro-Am.
Yeah, absolutely. And this could be a trend as well, you know, having that little bit of separation. I don't think it will. We're going to see Pro-Am drivers reacting a little bit. But if they don't enjoy it, this is perfectly normal as well. I mean, I don't think we expect to see Pro-Ams winning these races overall. It's just, I guess, normal to have this bit of separation. That's why we have classes, isn't it?
And you know what? We haven't seen much of a separation, be it in BSR or here at NARL, between different class drivers. It's been a very big mix. You'll have those aliens out front, say the top 5 in Pro, for example, that absolutely walk away. And then you'll have a mix of pros that could go almost either way between Pro and Pro-Am. But this is a great battle to turn 4. Mitchell Ian Green to the inside of Neil Bledsoe takes that spot away. But I think my point certainly stands. We usually see a larger mix, and we have colors mixed between. It's not as stark of a difference, but today it almost looks like they're different classes of cars with a whole lot of blue up top and a whole lot of purple on bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is actually going to be even more interesting as well if you think about it. Obviously, all these guys are going to be battling for points on the same class, so it really matters. The overtakes, everything is really going to matter for these guys, as you have the number 23 of Marco Nunez chasing McDaniel just ahead. This battle has definitely, well, it has not died down. It was once White, so Nunez got past Elliott White and now is chasing McDaniel. So from one BMW attacking to another, we're going to have to wait and see if the 23 can get past the Porsche.
Nunez trying to work through the field there, as Juan Blena is just close enough to Andre Melchers to consider this almost a battle, as they're almost a second behind Gustavo Ariel. Nathan Lewis tagging on, Juan Bustamante, and Nicolas Rubilar hanging a little ways back. Victor Miranda has just about lost touch with them, though, nearly 2 seconds behind, and that gap is going to hurt Victor's race quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Losing this gap, losing the slipstream, losing the potential of saving even more fuel is not going to be ideal for him. Currently, he sits in 7th place on a bubble, isn't he, Andrew? Just on his zone. He's 1.6 behind Rubilar, and his, 2.2 ahead of Rodriguez. So really just running his own race right here. He just needs to keep it clean, and he should have a good result because, he's just by himself.
You can see there's nothing around him currently as he laps around there in the 7th position, just ahead of Bryce Rodriguez by about 2 seconds, and he's 2 seconds off of Rubilar, so just on his own. What's unfortunate about this positioning is he's just close enough to see the guys ahead and say, yeah, I can see them, I'm close to them, but not be able to draft off of them, not be able to benefit off of that at all. And really, I don't even know if he can use them as reference. They're so far ahead as these guys work on through turn number 1. It is worth mentioning Gustavo Ariel is putting down some really good lap times. He is eking out even more of an advantage over Andre Melchers and company, and Andre now has Juan Blena to worry about. I think Andre's actually backing up is what it is.
could be that gap has remained the same since the first 4 or 5 minutes. So
No, it's opened up. It was just 7/10 from Gustavo down to Andre, and now it's over a second, almost 1.2.
yeah, but yeah, and so yeah, Blanard's really closing in, and at this point, Andrew, it's weird to tell because obviously the strategy point of view would mean that Blanard would definitely not attack Lewis, but Lewis could be doing this a bit on purpose, as you mentioned, just backing off, maybe inviting Blanard to overtake to save even more fuel. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know what's gonna happen actually.
The top 5, Ariel, Melchers, Blanat, Lewis, Bustamante have not changed. Bryce Rodriguez has just been overtaken recently by Matthew Dench, though, so move Matthew Dench up into 8th and Rodriguez down to 9th. So Rodriguez and Reister are slightly closer, but not going to help Scott's day really at all. We're 12 minutes in. This is a very quiet race today.
It is quite the opposite from the amateur race, isn't it? 12 minutes, really calm. Even our voices, I feel like they're a little bit calmer on a calmer tone.
Yeah, this is just a strategy race, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And we might see the pit stops with 15, 20 minutes to go. So we obviously need to keep an eye out for that, as we need with this battle. Marco Nunez is really closing up, and I feel like McDonough is really closing up to the guys ahead as well. So Marcos just might be riding this wave.
Marcos Nunez in position 15. Chasing down Hunter McDaniel, and he's got plenty of room back to Elliott White. Makes a look to the inside. He's going to force it as well. At least sticks the nose there. Nothing he can do. Almost got to that Porsche. But no dice there for Marcos Nunez. He'll have to wait for that passing opportunity a little bit longer. Paulo Godai on Scott Reister. They're close, but not close enough yet to really consider it much of a battle. Paulo just taking a look at the back end of Scott, and I think these guys are doing the same as the pros up ahead. They are staying in line, they're drafting, they're just saving some fuel right now, biding their time. It's a 50-minute race, and really I feel like this race could be 20 minutes, and just let them go out and race. I think the fuel strategy just puts everybody in a box right now. You've just got to save fuel, save as much as you can, and put as little in the car as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the 15-minute final of racing. It's just a dash. You need to get that track position. Obviously, you might mess up your fuel calculation, might have to save, but that's where the action normally happens. Right here, as you mentioned, it's just a patient game. For Paulo, there's absolutely no reason. Well. Yeah, there's no reason for him to overtake Scott, is there? He's just waiting to save fuel and to maybe get that position over the pit stops. Likely, I think it's very likely we won't see Paulo chasing down Bryce Rodriguez unless Bryce makes a big mistake on the pit lane or obviously by himself. So this is essentially just a battle for second place.
I'm quite surprised by the clutching here from Paulo Godai, but into turn 7, I'm not sure if you heard or noticed or anything, but he redlined. I think it was in third or fourth gear. He redlined into turn 7. I would have thought maybe put the clutch in there. If you're getting close to the red line, certainly put the clutch in. You don't want to get the engine spinning that much faster. You want to save. You want to keep it in lower revs. So kind of surprised there. It's less than one more time throughout this lap. Clutch into 4, I think. No clutch there. Down using the engine brake not at first. No. Keep it in second there. Oh, and Reister's going to go out right in front of him.
Oh, no.
The bad luck for Scott Reister just doesn't end.
Well, as soon as I mentioned, Andrew, the commentator's curse never fails. It's really heartbreaking. Now Paulo has to punch the air.
He kept it in third again. I'm really surprised by this. He's over-revving in 7, but he's putting the clutch into the corners. If he were to go to 4th even, that would save fuel. It's less turning the motor has to do. The motor isn't running as fast. That's what the RPM means. It's revolutions per minute. So you have engine speed and you have actual car speed. And, RPM is engine speed, for those that, might not know. So if your RPM is higher, that is, faster that the engine is spinning, the engine is turning, so it's burning more fuel. So I know people go off the throttle position for iRacing. I know that's what people get a stickle about, but that's not it. That's not the only thing. That's not the only way to save fuel. You also want to consider engine speed. That does matter a good little bit, and when your engine speed stays up into a corner, you're still burning more fuel than you need to. At least pull the paddle for 4th gear, if not lift off the gas and coast there so you don't have to brake into 7 maybe. It's just, I don't know, a very odd thing that Paulo's doing. I like what he's doing everywhere else. Just turn 7, I would say either upshift or put the clutch in, one of the two.
Yeah, absolutely. It's different strategies being used. And yeah, I share your thoughts. Kind of weird that he's not, shifting up. But obviously, if he wasn't pulling the clutch, Andrew, I would just say he's using a bit more engine braking. But obviously, he's not. Now, Scott, he's gonna be punching himself after that one. That was a completely self-made mistake, a self-wound. But yeah, it's really painful to see him dropping from a second place on his class to essentially dead last, if I'm not no, not dead last, but really
24th of 27. So
24, yeah, really hard.
this is a look back up front. Juan Blanat in third, chasing Andre Melchers in second. Nathan Lewis still fourth, but Nicolas Rubilar got on by Juan Bustamante, and Bustamante is now dropped back into sixth spot and is quite a ways back. These guys are really losing touch with the leaders, so another one bites the dust, dropping like flies up here, and Simon Nicholson recently got on by Bryce Rodriguez as well, so consider that a position for Simon and a position lost for Bryce as he is getting closer to dropping out of the top 10. Rodriguez there through 3. Let's go on board with him and see if he's saving fuel. Fifth gear there. Go for sixth, keeps it in fifth rather, down through the gears. Second, now first. I'm really surprised you guys are using first there. If they want to save fuel, keep that in second.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of weird. I don't remember myself actually using first quite a lot on these cars. So, yeah, I mean, it's weird, but, well, it's working for them, isn't it? So
he holds third there as well.
Yeah, a lot of drivers.
But I think he lifted earlier than Paulo Goday. I don't think he redlined it quite as bad. And, of course, the Ferrari, the 488 and the M4 are going to have different gear stacks. But, man, I really am surprised these guys are being as aggressive on the gears as they are. Even there, using some engine braking. That's absolutely not what you want to do. You're spinning the motor faster. It's odd. But hey, it works. Again, they're on the racetrack. They're on the racetrack and we're not. So we can sit here and theorize about it all we want, but at the end of the day, they're the ones racing and they seem to make it work each time. So fair enough. Yeah,
there we go. But this battle right here, obviously Bryce is moving quite back in the standings, in the timing sheet, but it's so far it's working for him. I don't think he definitely doesn't need to battle too hard, does he, Andrew? He has a good enough buffer to his fellow Pro-Am competitors, so he's keeping his car on the racetrack. He's keeping up a decent pace. This is all he needs so far.
Started 7th, now down to 10th position. Could be 12th here in a few laps. The way Fabio Zamperlini, there we go, and Mitchell Ian Green are closing in. Only time will tell. As let's see, other battles throughout the field. John Sedlak on Reed Gibson. This is for the 18th spot. Reed Gibson third in Pro-Am now as Paulo Goday is starting to walk away. Mark McDonald here as well. Mike Galbraith in line. They're ahead of Blake Scott, Lucas Souza, Scott Reister. And Mark Scott was the first car out of this race. He is 29th. Bruno De Carmo was second out of the race. He is 28th. Justin Sang also out of the race in the 27th position. Dominic Olivier, though, is still in the race, albeit 55 seconds behind the race leader and about 3 seconds behind Brian Zinn, his closest competition. These two, well, actually, Dominic has pitted in this race, but he pitted off the start, I think, to get repairs and get back out there. So he is quite a ways back at 26th. Brian Zinn, 27th, and Brian is 15 seconds behind Scott Reister for the 24th spot, who is 10 seconds behind Lucas Souza in the 23rd position. So some big gaps there.
Yeah, unfortunately, these guys are just running on his own. A place where we don't have big gaps, Andrew, is the battle for second place, separated by around 0.3 of a second. Yeah, this is interesting. You can even see Nathan Lewis just behind, just a couple of tenths behind Blanat. It's going to be interesting to see who saves a little more fuel than, well, the competitors, because that's going to make the whole differences, isn't it? That's where the I guess the positions will change. It's obviously going to be down in the pit stop, but we still have 29 minutes to go.
They simply aren't battling right now. They're just riding in a line, 20 minutes in, and we've really only taken, 2 replays this entire race, so very calm, very orderly. It's a strategy race.
Absolutely, and we kind of theorized about it on the pre-race broadcast. And then obviously the amateur race kind of just threw us off. They were quite attacking a lot, and then we just, came right back to it. this is a strategy race. They're going to be fuel saving for a long time. They're going to be lifting and coasting, pulling the clutch in. They're just going to be trying to save each and every single drop of fuel, and that's why, Andrew, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw similar pit stops to the amateur race.
Once again, only time will tell. Is Gustavo saving potentially? Let's go right on board with him up to turn 3. Is he putting the clutch in? Nope. Just right down through the gears. Down to first and 3. For turn 3, I understand first gear. I'm not so sure about turn 4, though.
To save fuel down into turn 4?
Yeah, well, at all, really. I'm surprised they're using first at all, but certainly to save fuel. I wouldn't use first gear down here. I understand it for turn 3. It's a lot slower, but here in 4, that seems like a second gear corner.
Yeah, definitely seems like a second gear corner. I share your thoughts. I actually don't think... Well, obviously they're working as well, Andrew. It's working for them. But yeah, it's odd to see first gear being used on non-hairpins. Especially on that corner, you can kind of keep up a good average speed. So, but it could be also just to get the nose turned in, you know, getting a good average speed through the corner. But no, it's working for them. These BMWs are definitely suited for that first gear around turn number 4. And yeah, the gap between IDL and Melchers on this lap, Andrew, has grew quite a lot, around 3/4 of a second. So yeah, either Gustavo is kind of punching the throttle right now, creating a bit more of a buffer, or Melchers, well, just lost a little bit.
That lap alone, it's about a 10th difference between the two, and actually Juan Blena was even slower than Andre Melchers by about a half a tenth. Nathan Lewis was faster than all 3 cars ahead, so he was even faster than Gustavo Ariel that lap, closing in on Juan Blena a little bit. Juan Bustamante about matched the lap time from car 15. That's about as far as that goes. Everybody else kind of slows down a little bit, but Nathan Lewis, good lap time so far. Right on pace than anybody else, and of course the draft is helping him quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only the draft is keeping him up with Melchers and Blanett, obviously his pace as well is really working. He just needs to keep this up, and obviously making a mistake is definitely possible. We saw a few drivers making mistakes, especially on the exit of this corner right here. But so far, Andrew, as long as he can keep this gap, he can even lose a few tenths of a second and be, well, pulled back by the draft. They're just sitting in a really good position right here.
26.5 minutes to go. There is not a whole lot going on. This is the quietest race I think we've seen all season, although Mark McDonald is decently close to John Sedlak. And oh, 1 car away out, that's Reed Gibson on the left side of the racetrack, a little bit slow, giving that spot up to John Sedlak. And the Mercedes will challenge still on the inside of the Porsche, but the Porsche does take that spot away. So move John Sedlak up 1 spot into 18th. And this is now a battle for 19th position as Gibson tries to hang on.
So Gibson's going to try to hang on for as long as he can. Obviously wants to get the position back, and we might see him move down into turn 9. I don't think we will. Yeah, he's just going to hold back, but yeah, they're really close as well, Andrew. This is really close to Mercedes.
Pit stops.
Oh, pit stops.
Surprised by
Pit
this,
stop.
to be honest.
Yeah, this early, and 2 Mercedes as well. So,
Well, Porsche and Mercedes.
oh, Porsche and Mercedes. Wow, really got that confused. But yeah, we're going to see who's going to come out first. It's going to be the Porsche. Is it going to be the Mercedes? Fuel levels might differ. Oh, Reed Gibson, I think he checked up and sped up again, so that could cost him a few seconds.
Ooh, excuse me. Sedlak in. And yeah, much longer stops, 15 seconds. 15.83 for Sedlak, and Gibson just behind at a bit of a longer stop, even a 15.2, but longer lane time I think it's going to be. Came in behind him and had that slower approach to the box.
15 seconds. Well, I take my words back. I thought the pit stop times were going to be similar. Well, they're quite the double.
Yeah, running that extra 10 minutes, it's a lot of fuel as Galbraith works on McDonald now. This is for 18th position behind Paulo Godai, who is actually catching Elliott White. So a Pro-Am now working on a Pro as the race goes on. Time starting to change, and Paulo Godai putting in some really good laps as this race goes on. I like the pace of the car 193. Unfortunately, he's just much too far back of Bryce Rodriguez to, I think, really be considered for this win, but things can change. It's a 12-second gap now, but that could absolutely, you know, be a 2-second gap here in 10 laps or so. We just don't know yet. So as this race works on, Paulo just going to try and put in all the lap times that he can, all the good lap times that he can. He's still under a 130, and that time was a 129.716. whereas Bryce was at a 129.087, so a little bit slower it looks like than Bryce at this current point in time.
But I think he pushed to break away from McDonald behind and to catch up to White to save more fuel. So I think that was the case because I'm pretty sure McDonald's just behind him before Scott Reiser spun around. But anyway, cutting back to this battle right here, this is Nicholson and obviously Bryce Rodriguez. Battle for 9th place. Bryce again keeping up a good gap in the 129s, a good pace as well. He's just saving fuel, Andrew, and obviously he's using the help of Nicholson. But at one point, if he feels like Nicholson is holding him back, do you think he goes for an overtake and tries to catch up to Matthew Dent just ahead?
That's a good question. You know what? After as many times as I've been wrong today with pit strategies, I'll just let the drivers do the talking. I'll let their pit stop speak for that. One thing I do know is I think Bryce wants the spot back. He's real close here to the Audi of Simon Nicholson. Holds himself back as Melchers goes purple with no draft help as well. Melchers is on his own. He's leading this group. I'm surprised by that. Very surprised by that.
Yeah, that's a really good lap. You can see that gap between him and Blaney increased a little bit. And we saw him, Andrew. What is the tendency with Melchers? As soon as he starts putting some purple laps, that means that the tank is running a little bit low. I don't think we're going to be seeing him pitting so soon, but it's an indicator.
Still not quite record-breaking. That was set at a, let's see, I believe it was a 128.44. So we're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. These lap times are certainly dropping in a good way. I'm still just so impressed that Melchers did that. I know the tank is light now, but without any draft help. He's only got help behind, and that's not going to do a whole lot in these GT cars, especially when you're as far back as these guys are. So that's quite impressive, honestly. Juan Bustamante starting to work here on 5th place again. That's Nicolas Rubelar up the road. Starting to close back in. Not working on him just yet, not sitting up for a pass or anything just yet, but is closing in, which is, is obviously the first step to catching somebody, is to, work on catching them, get there, and then pass them. So at least putting the first few steps together here is Juan to get back in the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's doing a good job. Currently 7 tenths of a second away, and as he breaks that 1 second barrier, he's going to be pulled in even, I guess, harder. And there we go. That's the effect that you have. So really good lap by him, and yeah, the tendency is he's just going to close up quite a bit, and he's going to be able to save quite a bit of fuel, especially on this final 21 minutes. This is where we're approaching the pit window. And, that's a confirmation, Fabio Zamperlin. But is that a bit of damage that I just saw?
That's a great question. Yes, on the left front, there is a bit of a scrape there, but I even saw a scrape on Melcher's machine. I think the BMWs just pop those curbs, and the bottoms of those fenders tend to get a little bit crinkled up. Nothing to be too concerned about, as it looks like... Oh, man, who is that behind him? Not just... Oh, that's Scott Reister, who's had another big issue very recently as well. Gets the fast repair now, and... Wow.
Yeah, so unfortunately his race went from bad to worse. Had to tow back to the pit lane. That's how big his damage was. So we're just going to take a look at what happened around here, because that was a high-speed impact as well, Andrew. This is him on the start-finish line. Uphill braking zone, turn number 1. What exactly happens to him? He turns in, hits the exit apex.
Must be in turn 3 then.
Yep.
He's fine working up the hill. On his own, nothing in front of him. And something goes awry here in turn 3, I would imagine. Let's see. Now, I'm the one that's in support of that, but we do have pit stops. Let's change the subject a little bit. As Gustavo Ariel is in the pit lane, along with everybody else. This is early, actually, compared to what we usually see. Gustavo's in. Juan Bustamante is in. Andre Melchers, Juan Blanat, Nicolas Rubelar, Nathan Lewis, Victor Miranda, Matthew Dench. They're all in the pit lane. Gustavo Ariel now leaves after a 15.87-second stop. And it's Juan Bustamante and everybody else out of the pit box.
Well, that was pretty much a meeting between all of them. All of them came to the pits at the exact same time. And Gustavo Ariel, he's actually going to rejoin in the lead, Andrew. So if he keeps this up, he's going to do a repeat of what we saw in the Pro-Am race. And looks like behind them...
Wow, Nathan Lewis, a really quick stop.
A really quick stop, but he lost quite a bit of contact to Blanat.
That is fair, but a 14.15 Yeah, the lane time was what caught Nathan Lewis. So I wonder if he audibled and took less fuel to try and save fuel here and lessen the impact of whatever issues he had getting out of pit lane. Gets back out there, a little bit less fuel, and Paulo Godai has stayed out at least one more lap, and he is in the middle of these guys. In fact, he's quite close to Gustavo Ariel. This is the closest the car has been to Gustavo in probably 20 laps almost, and it's your Pro-Am lead, of all people.
And there you go. Obviously, he's going to come down to the pit lane in this lap.
He's the only car yet to pit, by the way.
Only car yet to pit, so everybody just came in at that lap, and unfortunately, Andrew, we didn't see a lot of change for position, so yeah, he's going to come down to pit lane. Just going to have to take a look at his timer to see where he rejoins, if he made any progress on Bryce Rodriguez on that gap. And yeah, there he goes, slowing down a bit to the pit lane. And yeah, well, that's as cut and dry as you can get. Paulo Godai coming down to the pit lane. He needs to nail this, actually. And, well, there you go. The braking done. Just, well, don't miss your pit box.
So headed to do his box, Paulo Godai will begin his pit lane service. Let's sit on board with him here for a moment and see where he exits the pit lane. Bryce Rodriguez will be coming on by about now. So Bryce gets that spot back, which is expected, but it's a 13.32 for Paulo. That is aggressive.
Yeah, that's really aggressive, especially counting that he was running clear air after Scott's mistake.
It was saving more than we saw. I didn't see many others clutching, if anybody, and he was.
As much, yeah. So, well, it could really pay off. That gap between him and McDonald really stretched to around 6 seconds. Olivier as well coming down in the pit lane. Now the gap between him and Bryce, Andrew, I guess you can confirm if it came down after the pit cycles.
Let's see. So the current time to the leader is 29.7 for Paulo, and for Bryce it's 19.4. I think he made a couple of seconds, which makes sense with the pit stop difference, but he didn't make anything else up on the track, so it's still a 10-second gap then between first and second in Pro-Am, and it's 5 seconds back to Mark McDonald for Paulo Godai. Honestly, it's going to take a big issue for Bryce as it is. I might even, if I'm Paulo here, continue save as much as I can here, and use the 5 seconds up to Mark McDonald.
Yeah, and yeah, 10 seconds is a big gap to make up, especially 16 minutes, Andrew. That's quite a stretch. And now these two, well, they're going to go at it, I think, but not this early. We saw a good battle for the lead on the Porsche Cup on Tuesdays. I want another battle between these guys to absolutely go at it. And it looks like Blanand, well, he might not be wasting any time, actually.
Yeah, one is close. Takes a look now to the inside. Another look. Andre blocked for a second, and this is a proper move. Juan Blanand round the outside in turn 3. Andre Melcher's holding tough on the inside. No dice there, and Juan can't get the spot just yet. This is going to bring Nathan Lewis back into this conversation.
Yeah, this is exactly what Nathan wanted to see those battling, bring that gap down, get himself closer, and obviously give himself actually a shot at finishing in the top 2 and maybe chasing down Gustavo just ahead. But yeah, these two looks like they're going to go at it. Andrew Melcher is going to have to defend this time from Blanand. Lewis, you can see Bustamante just behind them and Rubelar. So that was a change for position actually, wasn't it?
Yes, it
Bustamante
is.
was behind. So yeah, the number 52 really showing up. Really like what I'm seeing from the number 52. So we're just going to have to wait and see if he catches up to Nathan.
From the blimp view, taking a look at Andre Melcher's leading this little train of cars, but it's all Gustavo Ariel out front for Full-Time Esports, and this is a good little revival for them. We saw, of course, last season in this GT3 class was dominated by Full-Time, and a problem for one of the top drivers, oddly enough. I don't mean that in a bad way to Hunter McDaniel, but one of the top drivers in this series in the points. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a lot of time and a lot of positions we're given right there. On the final stretch of the race, Andrew, as well, that's gotta hurt. In turn 4, we saw some drivers spinning. I wonder what causes if...
Including Scott Reister. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, plenty of drivers being caught out here. We saw it in the amateur race as well. Hunter McDaniel, though. See what happens to him on the curbing. Is it on the exit? It's on the exit curbing. I think touches the gravel out there. Goes for a spin, noses it into the wall. The problem is he was in the mid-teens, the middle part of the field, and now he's 22nd, only ahead of Lucas Souza and Dominic Olivier that are on the lead lap. So, yeah, his race just about over.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate to happen with 15 minutes to go.
In fact, he's headed back to the pit lane as well. So problems there for Hunter McDaniel. His points position likely going to change a whole lot. He comes in today tied for 4th. That's going to change as Paulo Godai goes on by Elliott White. So Godai finally gets a position on a pro driver, gets ahead of car 11, and is now into 15th overall. It is still, well, in fact, that gap has grown up to Bryce Rodriguez, about 2 extra seconds, so 12 seconds now, and that's certainly not what he wants. McDaniel back on the racetrack behind Dominic Olivier. They are both just on the tail end of this lead lap, and about 17 seconds or so to our race leader, and Juan Blanat continues to trail Andre Melchers. This is for second.
Yeah, this is really close. You can see Nathan is really closing in as well. This gap, obviously, this battle is allowing Gustavo to essentially pull. You can see it's already 3 seconds between them. Rubelar is losing quite a bit of pace to Bustamante, so I wonder maybe a small mistake on the pit made him under fuel and he's having to save. But you can see just how close Nathan and Blanat are to Andre Melchers. We might see another challenge down here. Andrew to turn number 3. Will we see Blanat go down the inside? Yes, we do. He goes deep on their braking. They're going to go side by side. He's going to give him room, and they're going to drag race out of the corner.
Juan Blanat, no dice there. Oh, and Andre moves over right in front of him. That was aggressive. And if I'm Juan there, that's almost a little bit disrespectful for Andre to do that right in front of me. But, oh, and moving in the braking zone. Don't like that at all. Juan Blanat, though, holds in behind him. So you can tell, if Andre Melchers, of all people, is starting to move in braking zones, you can tell how much of a threat Juan Blanat actually poses to that second spot, and how much Andre just wants to come talk to us after the race.
I mean, Andre wants to hold this second place, and now Blanat, after attacking Andrew, he's going to have to defend from Nathan, and I don't think Nathan is going to wait for him to, well, close back to Andre. I feel like he's just going to have his chance as soon as it comes. Obviously, he's going to try to do that in the most effective way possible to make sure he loses a little as contact as he can to Melchers, but you can see just how close he is, trying to line up for a good exit on turn number 10. That's exactly what Blanat does to Melchers, actually.
One more lap in the books, and one more purple lap for Gustavo Ariel. It's close to the record, but not quite there yet. He's got about another 10th to go as Mike Galbraith with trouble.
Oh, and that's on the exit of 4 again?
Yeah,
yes.
Another problem out of turn 4.
Really catching up a lot of the drivers. I wasn't expecting this corner to be so much of a trouble point, but, well, unfortunately for all of these drivers, it is.
Was just ahead of Reed Gibson. Now, Gibson is 18th, so that's where Galbraith was. And the Ohio driver just around on exit, goes a little wide. Yep, exactly the same as Hunter McDaniel.
It's really unfortunate to see. And it's really unfortunate from the drivers as well, because I know they're going to be questioning themselves. You know, it was just a small mistake. Why did I take too much speed? And obviously that was the end of his challenge, as we have this. Looks like Bryce Rodriguez is having to defend from Fabio Zamperlini. This is for the top 10 injury. So the only driver in the Pro-Am class in the top 10 now has to defend from another pro driver. So we could see the top 10 being full of blue numbers. And, well, unfortunately, the purples one, well, they're not really that present in the top 10. Still running strong, but not as strong as the pros.
Mitchell Ian Green also here, so 3 cars in a line, led by Bryce Rodriguez in car 124. He's still looking like a pro, but maybe a little more pro-am. You can call him pro-A right now, not quite a full pro-am right now, as Bustamante, a 128.4. It's the first time we've seen that as he rides in the 5th spot and is just within range to draft off of Nathan Lewis, so that would explain it, I think. He might be going all out now. And with Tank's Lightning back up, I think we're going to see more of that. In fact, Nathan Lewis with a look maybe at Blanat as he take a look to the inside. No, not just yet. While these guys do this, what do you say we confirm that track record here for GT3 at the Red Bull Ring? It is a 128.445. So that's what we're going for here. It was set by Lamborghini in 2017. That might change to, well, it wouldn't change, but it would change at least within this league here today.
What was the fast lap set by the number 52 so far? It was
that was a 128.489. So it's close. It's within a half a tenth.
Yeah, it's really close. Obviously, right now it's going to be closer to beat that lap time, as tires are not going to be, I guess, as cool as they were after they stopped for the pit stops, but I hope we can see that record being broken. Meanwhile, I hope we can see, you know, this challenge, well, this battle not being broken, because Nathan Lewis is extremely close to Blanat, who's also quite close to Melchers, although he lost quite a bit of a gap. You know, he's currently 0.6 of a second behind Melchers. So, yeah, Andrew, this is getting quite intense between these guys, and I'm absolutely loving it.
Just watching along here from Nathan Lewis. Really not a whole lot going on. I mean, these guys just aren't racing yet. I wish we could try and make it more exciting, but they are just in a holding pattern, and until they start to get side by side, until they start to look like Juan Blanat has done a couple of times, there's just not much to talk about with these guys. They've ridden in a line the entire race and are still in this line. Bustamante has caught them again, so Andre Melchers is backing them up maybe a little bit, or Juan Bustamante is just that quick.
Yeah, I think Juan is just pushing, and I was actually going to mention that, you know, he's actually really closing up, and he could pose an actual threat, so that's the reason why we're seeing Nathan essentially just pushing Blanat back to Melchers, just like, go for it. I maybe don't want to go for an overtake right now. We still have 8 minutes to go, but, well, if Bustamante is closing up to me, I'm going to be vulnerable, so I might as well have a buffer, you know, between me and him, and, well, if that buffer means I'm going to end in the overall podium and score more points, well, I might as well just go for it.
Nathan Lewis getting awfully close here to Juan Blanat. These three are very, very tight. And Bustamante is only going to add to it. So we're going to have 4 cars in a very close line here, 2nd through 5th, as they continue to back up from Gustavo Ariel. I really think Andre is starting to back up intentionally. I mean, he's dropping tenths. Seriously, as Gustavo won 1,000th off the lap record.
Gustavo, you're watching the stream. Go faster. Please break 1 more thousandths. Come on.
I almost like that he's 1/1000th off. I like that. I don't know why, but watching these guys head up the hill once more, they are oh so close. Here we go. Nathan Lewis looks. Juan Blanat covers up the inside of Andre Melchers. Side by side there. Juan noses ahead for a moment. Nathan Lewis sits in behind. Where does he go? Who does he help? Stays with Juan Blanat for now. He's got to worry about Bustamante behind. Bustamante still a little ways back. Melchers pinches. That's real scary. Blanat comes over. Melchers on the inside for turn number 4. Blanat on the outside. And Lewis takes a look, and he's going to have a massive exit. Nathan Lewis up to 3rd, maybe.
Maybe he's going to have to clear Blanat on turn 6. Will he do it? That's going to be close between those two. They're going to go side by side. Nathan on the outside is going to hold that position, and he clears in. What a beautiful move, utilizing what Blanat did. Very, very good driving by the number 27. Blanat now is going to be vulnerable to Bustamante right behind, so we could see the number 52 as well moving up. You can see Blanat forced to go defensive a little bit, but goes back into the racing line. This is going to get intense, Andrew, on the final few minutes.
Juan Blanat took a shot and lost a spot. As a result, as Gustavo Ariel continues to drive away, and Andre Melchers, I seriously got to believe he is saving fuel right now. He didn't even underfuel the car, I don't think, but he is just on a very, very slow pace. He's also damaged those couple of fenders in the left front and the right front, so he's been hitting the curbs. Toto might need to warn him and back him off those curves a little bit. I mean, he has really dented up the front of that car.
Yeah, really. And now Nathan Lewis is going to take his shot, Andrew. He definitely wants to do what Blanat unfortunately couldn't. He wants to get a pass. The number 25. I guess he just wants to talk to you again, Andrew. He really seems tired, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Andre seems really confident under braking. He really seems really confident defending, which is really good to see. Nathan holding back position through turn 4, 5 minutes and 40 to go. Laps are running down, opportunities are running down, but looks like he has it all under control. This group right here, all 4 cars are still well in contention.
Elliott White with troubles. He's back on the pit lane, dropping down through 20th spot. So the gap between Paulo Goday and Mark McDonald that was a pro car is now taken out. That is just 3 seconds now. And Bryce Rodriguez is still ahead of Fabio Zamperlini. I think Fabio, saving for the last few moments, knows that he's not going to go catch Simon Nicholson and just wants to save fuel and make sure that he's got insurance in this battle. And, of course, make sure that he doesn't fall behind Mitchell Ian Green at some point. So it looks like a waiting game around the entire speedway currently. And oh, my goodness. Just the way those guys run out of turn 10 so wide, it's something for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see. Now, obviously, we're coming up to the approach of the favorite overtaking spot for these guys. The exit of turn number 1, you can see Melchers really using a lot of that yellow curb on the outside. Oh.
Wow. Is this a pass-through or is this a stop?
Yes. Pass-through.
Wow.
And
Too many
he was by himself the whole race, wasn't he?
Yep. Just pushing too hard, I think.
unfortunately for him, he's going to drop outside the top 10. He's 12th place right now.
Might have just been jinxed by a fan out in the chat. We'll let that one be, you know, to them. But I think might have just been jinxed a little bit.
So a comments curse.
Yeah, a commentator's curse instead of a commentator's curse. I like it a little bit better that way, as we watch this train of cars still. Melchers, Lewis, Blanat, and Bustamante. And nothing really changing. But you know what that does do is promote Fabio Zamperlini into the top 10, regardless of the outcome of that battle with Bryce Rodriguez.
Oh, Elliott White looks like he has just blinked. Oh, he comes down in pit lane, actually. I thought he blinked, but looks like he just comes up to top a little bit on fuel.
This is his third stop.
Oh.
And second in 2 laps.
That's really unfortunate. So bad luck out of
You're
bad
kidding
luck.
me.
Oh,
is that one Blanat or was that Nathan Lewis?
that's Nathan Lewis.
Hang on. That was Nathan Lewis.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. Wow. Is that for incidents or is that a you know what? He was light on fuel. He only took 14 seconds.
He's not pulling into the pit box. That's instance. That's a pass through.
Nathan Lewis, your point leader, by the way. You're going to give this one up certainly after this race to Gustavo Ariel, who has just taken off. So a bunch of championship implications today at Red Bull Ring. That is a big, big one.
That is a massive one. He also is going to be kicking himself. So we saw Victor Miranda, and we just saw Nathan Lewis. So now Melchers has quite a healthy buffer between him and Blanat, but Bustamante definitely wants that final shot at the podium, Andrew. He definitely wants to finish on the overall podium. He wants that 3rd place, and he definitely has worked for it. So now the question is, with 2 minutes and 40 to go, can he get past the number 89?
Suddenly, Andre Melchers looks safe, a second ahead of these two. One Blanat very close to losing 3rd place to Bustamante. And Nathan Lewis cycles back into the 7th spot just behind Matthew Dench and Nicolas Rubelar, and ahead of Simon Nicholson. Bryce Rodriguez has company still from Fabio Zamperlini, but Mitchell Ian Green is almost closer to Fabio at this point than he is to Bryce Rodriguez.
Yeah, definitely, but he's just going to have to wait and see again, Andrew. 2 minutes to go. Do you risk everything for an extra position, especially if you're Fabio? I think if you're Fabio,
you go for it.
You have to.
Yeah, you definitely go and try and pass that ProAM. Remember what I talked about with the Porsches, Porsche Cup on Tuesday. If you're Fabio Zamperlini at this point in the season, you cannot afford to finish behind Pro-Am drivers at least. There's other things that go into it. There's other things that would bring his season back. But at the very least, he has got to beat all of the purple names here in the GT3 cars, period.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yep, I guess you pretty much answered it. It looks like he's really close to Bryce Rodriguez on the exit of turn number 1. He needs to nail this exit, get that slipstream because, well, Green just behind him is really close as well. Could we see Fabio going down the inside, trying to line up a move? He's kind of looking for it, but he knows he's a bit too far away, kind of really close up on the braking, but not close enough, Andrew. His opportunities are definitely running out.
Gustavo Ariel going to come around and take the white flag here in just a few moments. He is out of turn number 8 now. And it will be the white flag, it looks like, presented by Whiplash Simcams this time. It definitely should be. We're under a minute now. He's in turn 9. This is just about it for the full-time esports BMW M4. You can see the little TK logo there on the front fenders. Matthew Dench with the problem here. He loses the spot to Nathan Lewis, but it is white flag for Gustavo Ariel. He is going to be your points leader after this race, certainly. Nathan Lewis goes on by Matthew Dench. Matthew, I think, having to save some fuel here in the latter stages. Nathan Lewis, though, trying to get those spots back, so he goes right on by the Australian for the 6th position. Man, what could have been?
Exactly, what could have been. Could definitely be a 2nd place, and this is the final opportunity for Bustamante to go, well, to pass Blanat. This could be one of his final shots. He's close, Andrew. Will he look down the inside? You can see Blanat kind of closing in the door, closing in the inside line. He's gonna get a good exit line right here, I think, and he should have a good exit. No, it's pretty similar between those two. Blanat really closing in the inside line, not allowing any room whatsoever. He's gonna be forced to the outside. Can Bustamante do anything about it? Will he go deep on the braking? Will he try to cut back line? He's gonna go side by side. They're gonna door bang a little bit. Yes, they do. But looks like just not enough. Blanat, you can see a bit of headlight flashing. Yeah, absolutely not. But yeah, that might just be his opportunity.
through 6 and 7. Is there any chance here for Juan Bustamante, or is he relegated to 4th position? That was a great corner for Blanat, and he will pull away. Miranda and Mitchell in green are battling now through turn 4 as Gustavo Ariel rounds turn 10 for the final time today. And the Tony Kanaan promoted full-time esports number 15 will go to victory lane in Austria.
Really? Oh,
and he breaks the lap record on the final lap. That's how you do it.
What event? This is the Grom Shalom, I'm pretty sure. He won each and every, he led every single lap, set the fastest lap of the race, set the qualifying pole position. Yeah, I think he just did it, unless he didn't top off practice. But yeah, Victor Miranda as well, getting to 11th place, kind of salvaging a good result for him. What a race we just had, Andrew. Those final 15-20 minutes were absolutely amazing.
That is how you do it, Gustavo Ariel. Big time lap record. Well, it won't officially go on his lap record for Red Bull Ring, but it's a lap record at least here for the North American Racing League at Red Bull Ring. Really, really solid lap there as the rest of the field comes on through. Looks like Mitchell Ian Green comes across. Mark McDonald. Reed Gibson's next up in 17th, then John Sedlak. Blake Scott will go 19th spot. Mike Galbraith rounds out your top 20. Hunter McDaniel, Dominic Olivier, Elliott White, and Lucas Souza will wrap up your entire running order all the way down to 24th. Brian Zinn's still running, but goes one lap down today.
I mean, I'm still amazed by this finale. What an absolutely, again, a fantastic race. Fantastic seeing those pro drivers battling, Andrew. We normally see them kind of scatter off after the pit stops. Not today, though.
Still a couple cars out there. In fact, Elliott White coming to the checkers here in just a moment. Actually, I say just a moment. In a few moments. He is into turn 9 now. And Lucas Souza will be the final car to finish in the number 106 Ferrari as he works on by Fabio Zamperlini there, trying to finish up his race. And that should finish things. I'm surprised these guys actually made it onto the last lap, but it looks like they do. So there goes Elliott White. And Lucas Souza coming around turn 7 now. Wait for him to finish before we can go through our unofficial race results here. I can't believe that. For Gustavo to break the lap record there on the final lap, obviously takes the win. Andre Melcher's second, Juan Blanat third. Juan Bustamante couldn't quite get the spot, finishes 4th still. And Matthew Dench with a penalty here at the end. He has just been dropped to 17th spot.
Oh no, that's... well, the final lap of the race as well.
You know who that benefits, though, is everybody behind him, of course, and that puts
yeah.
Victor Miranda back into the top 10. Fabio Zamperlini will take 9th as a result. We'll get our full results here as soon as Lucas Souza finishes, and he has done exactly that. Let's go ahead and go through our full unofficial race results, leading off with Gustavo Ariel.
Yeah, Gustavo finished, well, dominated the race. I think there's no other word for it. Andre Melcher is going to finish 2nd place, Juan Blanat in 3rd. Juan Bustamante in 4th place ahead of Nicholas Rubilar. Nathan Lewis, unfortunately, is going to finish in 6th place. Simon Nicholson in 7th. Bryce Rodriguez is going to win the Pro-M class in 8th ahead of Fabio Zamperlini and Victor Miranda.
Finishing 11th, it's car 19, Mitchell Ian Green. Pretty good day when it's all said and done. That's attrition setting in, certainly for car 19. He was going to be about 13th, 14th spot, moves up into that 11th position. Marcos Nunez follows in 12th, and it's Neil Bledsoe 13th. Paulo Godai will take 14th place, which is 2nd in Pro-Am. Not a remarkable day for him, but it's exactly what he needs, I think, to continue to put a championship season together. That said, his championship rival goes out there and gets another race win, Bryce Rodriguez, and there is a bit of a separation, about 7 positions between them, it looks like. So that's a big deal for Paulo Godai to lose those points out to Bryce Rodriguez. They're going to keep going back and forth, but they're doing what they need to do, at least back and forth, 1 and 2. They've got to keep doing exactly this. Mark McDonald there in the 15th position, Reed Gibson 16th, and you see Matthew Dench dropped way down the order in the 17th spot, and I really wonder what that would have been for. I wonder if he got a 1x the last lap and just couldn't serve the penalty. Either way, he drops down to 17th. John Sedlak 18th. Blake Scott 19th. Mike Galbraith in the 20th spot.
21st place to go the ways of Hunter McDaniel. Dominic Olivier in 22nd. Elliott White 23rd. And he was the last driver to finish on the lead lap. Lucas Souza is going to finish in 24th ahead of Brian Zinn. Scott Reister. Justin Sang in 27th. Bruno Ducarmo in 28th. Mark Scott in 29th. And Pierre Thompson 30th place. Unfortunately for those drivers, Andrew, their race was cut really short, really early into the running.
Looks like we're waiting on some drivers to join. Still no Gustavo Ariel, but we do have Andre Melchers and Juan Blanat. Juan Blanat, unfortunately, wouldn't qualify, but there's Paulo Goddard, Bryce Rodriguez, and some more. Let's go ahead and lead off then with our Pro-Am race winner here, JP. Bryce Rodriguez. We spoke with his father, actually, after the amateur race. We spoke with Rob Rodriguez and had a great conversation, actually. Hadn't spoken with Rob before, so that was good to talk to him for the first time. And talked about the help that Bryce had been to him over the course of this season, getting him up to speed, especially this week, helping him out with a few almost catered sessions, almost acting like Maradness a little bit. So maybe Bryce Rodriguez can get in contact with those guys and become one of their coaches. But anyways, Bryce Rodriguez, a win here in Pro-Am. Let's go ahead and bring in driver of the 124. And Bryce, we were just speaking to your household a little bit ago after the amateur race, and now you go out there and collect a Pro-Am win. What was your race like?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I have not much words to say about it. I was gonna choose the Lamborghini, and then last minute call to go with the Ferrari. I just thought it felt really good and just kind of suited the driving style and what I was looking for, which was consistency and pace, but just more consistency because that's what I know I need for the championship. And qualifying, I kind of surprised myself. I didn't expect to get that good of a lap time. That was my personal best all week. And then from there, I just knew that to not fight the pro guys, just kind of stay in my own lane, just save fuel if I could. And then it was kind of just maintaining the fuel till the end. I ran out just before the line, but all was good though today.
So perfect timing there on the fuel. And as far as the points battle, you come in 11 points back of Paulo Goddard, but with 2 race wins to your name. It's looking good for you after this one. You're at least going to narrow that gap, if not overtake Paulo in the standings. How do you set up for a championship then at Circuit Zolder next week and then Charlotte afterwards?
I love Zolder. Never driven Charlotte. I've seen the track itself, but I think Zolder's going to be a fun track for me. I think the tracks that I enjoy more is the ones I do good at. It's just all about being consistent and finishing that top 3 like Paulo said last week, I think.
And of course, a quiet race today. Was it just a nice Thursday evening drive? No Pro-Ams around, really just trying to fend off Fabio? What was that like, holding him off?
Yeah, it was just kind of it's never really a relaxing Thursday drive when you're racing, but it was just trying to figure out, should I let him by or should I just keep on pushing? And I ended up just keep on pushing towards the middle of the race. And he wasn't that much of a threat. Towards the middle of the race, he got a bit close, but then towards the end, I started to pull away. But then when I needed to save fuel, then that's when he kind of closed that gap back down.
And hey, you've got a pretty good YouTube channel as well. Tell everybody watching about where to find you on YouTube and even social media.
Yeah, of course. You can find me at Bryce Evolution. That's my YouTube channel name. You can also go to bryceevolution.com and the racing team, evolutionracing.org. On my YouTube channel, I post hot lap guides, race highlights, and other entertaining content as well. You can find that there on YouTube.
There you go, even a couple of websites. That's really, really cool there. Bryce, congratulations this evening, a Pro-Am win, and certainly looking like you're going to set up a championship battle here with Paulo here very, very soon. Congratulations, best of luck to you next week at Zolder. Hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you guys. See you guys soon.
Bryce Rodriguez with a really, really good outing here at Red Bull Ring. Just ahead. 18 seconds ahead of Paulo Goddard when it's all said and done. And here is driver 193, Paulo, with the second place this evening, JP.
So, I was almost gonna talk in English. Então, Paulo, quase falando inglês, novamente falando contigo. Você já deve estar enjoado da minha voz, enjoado de falar comigo, mas, poxa, como é que foi tua corrida? O Bryce meio fora de alcance, mas, poxa, tua corrida continua sendo bem forte.
Boa noite, João. Boa noite a todo mundo que tá assistindo. Hoje não foi um dia bom pra gente. Eu errei muito o quali. E aí eu só tinha mais uma volta. Eu não podia queimá-la de forma alguma, né, pra não largar literalmente de última. E então eu fiz uma volta muito safe, né, só pra fazer mesmo e qualificar, só pra ganhar algumas posições ali. E isso custou muito a nossa corrida, né, porque fiquei muito longe do Bryce. Fiquei muito atrás do pelotão e uma pista que tem muito vácuo também, então é difícil ter uma diferença de ritmo gritante para conseguir escalar muitas posições, né? Então acho que eu de passar mesmo, acho que eu passei uns 6 pilotos e resolvi começar a economizar, porque na verdade era o que dava para fazer mesmo. Você falou, o Bryce estava um pouco fora de alcance já, e já tinha distanciado com o pelotão da frente. Então só coloquei na minha cabeça que eu tinha que trazer o carro para segundo de novo e pontuar mais uma vez pra gente. Mas no mais foi isso, uma corrida que, querendo ou não, acabo ficando feliz novamente por ter o resultado, né? Não foi como esperado, nem perto disso, mas eu fico feliz de novo estar pontuando e acredito que ainda continuar na liderança do campeonato.
Bom, com certeza. Bom, o que mais que a gente pode perguntar? Semana que vem, qual que vai ser a esperança? Obviamente vai querer voltar para pro primeiro lugar, obviamente, mas o que mais que a gente pode esperar de você?
Isso é uma pista também que eu não tenho muito conhecimento, na verdade ainda nem tenho a pista, então eu vou procurar adquirir o quanto antes para poder pegar o ritmo da pista e tudo mais, mas focar no treino mesmo, focar em ter um ritmo bom, pra gente voltar a andar no pelotão da frente ali, pelo menos buscando esse top 10 sempre, e pontuando bem tanto na categoria quanto no geral.
Com certeza, Paulo. Então, bom, com isso aqui eu vou já esclareceu tudo que eu queria. Infelizmente não consegui falar português nessa transmissão, vou ficar te devendo talvez pra próxima, mas...
Sem problema.
Com
Sem
certeza.
problema, eu só queria agradecer ainda o time, tá? Queria agradecer meu time, a o Race, os patrocinadores, a Hell Drive, a Motorbull, Comida do Dia e a Ciência BR, tá? E não posso esquecer dos meninos que estão sempre dando força ali no Discord, Vitor Miranda, que hoje não conseguiu trazer um resultado, mas de qualquer forma andou muito bem, sempre muito forte. Fábio Zamperini também, que andou super bem também. Enfim, DHR, todos os amigos brasileiros que estão correndo aqui, Gustavo Ariel também, que ficou no pódio da Pro aí, mandou um absurdo com certeza. É isso, Brasil na ponta, Brasil sempre bem representado por nós aí, é o que a gente tá torcendo sempre também.
Com certeza. Dito isso, Paulo, vou deixar você focar pra semana que vem, porque a gente não vai ter corrida terça-feira, e espero falar contigo lá.
Perfeito, até semana que vem então, João, obrigado.
Até semana que vem, boa noite. Alright, Andrew, so I guess you could tell by his tone of voice, it wasn't really what he expected. He told me he got a few mistakes in qualifying on his first 2 laps, so he unfortunately had to decide to go for a safer 3rd lap in qualifying, which ended up putting him way back than what he kind of wanted and what he had the pace to do it. So it really, already in qualifying, it looked impossible to catch up to Bryce Rodriguez unless something really happened. So yeah, it was really hard to come back. Obviously, it's really hard as soon as you lose a little bit of slipstream to essentially catch up and have, a good, I guess, pace difference. But, he overtook at least 6 cars. Obviously, you can see he started in 21st and finished in 14th, so he was kind of happy about that. He thinks he's still leading the championship, which is obviously what he wants. But yeah, in the middle of the race, he just decided to bring the car home, save a bit of fuel, which is what he could do at that stage. For next week, he does not own the track, so he's going to get practicing as soon as possible. Obviously, the week off on Tuesday is really gonna help him, focus on the GT3 side of things. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Paulo Godai with another really good day here at Red Bull Ring. 2 line down the line, let's grab, see if you can do back-to-back here, because the Pro winner, Gustavo Ariel, went very, very quick, and I'd imagine he's feeling pretty good.
I guarantee you he is. Então, Gustavo, de um dia, 7 anos atrás, correndo junto no Project Cars, dessa vez pra eu te entrevistando depois de uma vitória incrível, como é que foi tua corrida? Gustavo, consegue me ouvir?
Opa, agora sim, desculpa. Cara, foi uma ótima corrida, consegui ali desde o começo colocar um bom ritmo, fazer um belo qualify, e graças a Deus aí a gente conseguiu encaixar tanto a pole, a melhor volta e a vitória. Então muito feliz aqui, ainda entrando no ritmo desse novo GT3, né, um pouco diferente ali de pilotar, de encaixar as voltas, sem o brake drag no quali a gente conseguiu mostrar o nosso verdadeiro potencial, né, e colocar a pole. Então estou muito feliz, é uma pista que eu gosto bastante, e é isso aí. Quero agradecer demais a Full Time Sports by Tony Canaan, com patrocínio de Logitech e B8 Seguros, todo mundo que estava lá na minha na minha live na Twitch, twitch.tv/Gustavo Ariel Racing. E é isso aí. Project Cars foi uma época bem legal, né? Agora que eu tô me recordando e com certeza foram grandes momentos, a gente se divertia bastante. E, cara, eu tô bem feliz com a vitória hoje, né? Você vê o nível que o Sim Racing no mundo cresceu. E é isso, só quero agradecer demais a Full Time, ao Tony, ao Barreto, a todo mundo que acredita no meu trabalho, que confia em mim, meus alunos. É hora de descansar e curtir esse momento e preparar para a próxima.
Com certeza. Então, você acabou de falar, meus alunos, então tem um serviço de coaching aí rolando do Gustavo?
Sim, tem um serviço desde 2020. A gente tá fazendo, se aprimorando, né? Tentando ali passar um pouco desse conhecimento que eu adquiri depois de tantos anos, né? Tenho 20 desde os meus 4 anos de idade ali pilotando, obviamente não com a seriedade, né? Mas já começando ali a brincar ali. Então faço esse tipo de serviço, graças a Deus eu vivo disso hoje. O Sim Racing e o automobilismo real é meu primeiro emprego, então eu tento fazer da forma mais séria possível e tem dado muito certo, graças a Deus, e acho que eu fico muito mais feliz com os resultados dos meus alunos, às vezes até do que os meus, mas é legal quando encaixa tudo e acho que todo mundo sai ganhando.
Com certeza. E rapidamente falando de semana que vem, quais são as expectativas? Repetir o resultado? Acho que vai ser um pouquinho mais difícil.
Então, eu acho que vai ser um pouco mais difícil, porque é uma pista que eu não tô tão habituado a andar, né? A primeira corrida que eu fiz de campeonato oficial foi lá em 2015, então é uma pista assim que não tinha no iRacing, eu não tinha comprado já, sei lá, eu comprei bem recentemente, então vou treinar bastante. As expectativas é de manter o pace de volta, né? Acho que é o ideal. E depois ali nos treinos de quali tentar encaixar boas voltas e dificilmente vou repetir o que eu consegui aqui hoje em Red Bull, para ser bem sincero, mas eu vou tentar pelo menos colocar uma boa volta no quali e fazer voltas constantes na corrida, então vai ser mais difícil porque é uma pista que eu não tô tão habituado, então vou precisar de um pouco mais de foco e dedicação ali para poder entrar no ritmo da galera.
Bom, com certeza, vou esperar o mesmo resultado, vamos esperar que tudo dê certo, mas dito isso, Gustavo, vou deixar você focar para a semana que vem. E, bom, é isso, parabéns pelo resultado e um bom descanso.
Que isso, valeu, João, é um prazer rever vocês aí, rever a galera aí do pódio, muito legal estar aqui dando entrevista e mandar um abraço pros gringos também. Thank you all guys for watching my stream and for the support, and see you soon, bye bye, let's go for Zolder.
Absolutely. So Andrew, obviously you could tell it was a bit of a longer one, but quite a few things actually to take away. Obviously, you know, the race, when he talked about the race itself, there wasn't really a lot to talk about, was there? He said he would manage to get a great qualifying lap, which really set up, you know, the whole round itself for him. He had great pace throughout the race, was managing to keep up a gap between him and Andre, and that was about it. You know, he really was toned in because he really loves this track. He's still getting used to the GT3, is not really his cup of tea, as far as I could tell, so could be more potential still coming out of him. He's absolutely loving the racing and the competition that NARL is bringing to the table, obviously with Andre, Blainad, all these guys really stepping up the competition. He has a coaching service too, so, well, take that for what you will. You see the pace of the guy. And obviously he's taking it really serious because it's his main income. Talking about next week, he says it's going to be a lot harder because he's not really as used to the track as it is to this one. So we need to keep an eye out for him. He wants to repeat the pace, he wants to repeat the result, but he doesn't think it's very likely to happen. But, well, we never know. We've seen drivers with no practice getting plenty of wins.
So another big one there for Gustavo. I say another one, a very, very big one, a first big one for Gustavo Ariel, and of course paired with that fastest lap of the race, right on the last lap that breaks the lap. Well, again, in quotes, in air quotes, we'll say breaks the lap record set in 2017 here by a GT3 car. Let's move on down the line though. Andre Melcher is still standing alongside, and Andre, the second time we're talking to you this week, that's usually a pretty good thing. Second place tonight. How'd the race go for you?
Hey guys, yeah, all in all it was quite an exciting race for me, especially the last laps where I defended from the guys behind. And yeah, when I saw the pace in the practice session before, so my own pace, I thought like, yeah, when I finish on the podium, it will be a good result. So I'm quite happy that I finished in P2 here. Also some good points for the championship. And yeah, Gustavo was just too fast for me today. He had really awesome pace, and yeah, congrats to him. Also special thanks to Nashi, who helped me out a lot this time in the practice. And yeah.
Now, how big of a deal was fuel today? Obviously, we saw you guys saving fuel. That's been the case of both series in the Porsche Cup and the GT3 cars here, but just how big of a deal was it to put the clutch in? Did you put the clutch in, and how close were you on fuel at the end?
No, not even a single time. So in this race, because Gustavo was so fast ahead, and I just had to push every lap and didn't save any liter of fuel. So yeah, at the end I had like, I don't know, half a liter left or so.
Now, it's looking like Gustavo could set up to run away with this championship, but you're not entirely out of things. You're still, I think, within range that things can happen and go your way. How do you prepare then for Circuit Zolder next week, then Charlotte, VIR, and Interlagos to wrap up this championship?
Yeah, I mean, there are still some races to go, so it's definitely not over yet. I will try my best also in the next races, and yeah, we'll get some practice as well.
Well, Andre, congratulations on another really good run. Second place tonight. It's a big season-building night for you, and hoping to talk to you next week in the other track in Belgium, Circuit Zolder. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Andre Melcher. Hang on. Zolder is in Belgium, right? I'm not mistaken there, right?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot like that?
I don't think it's actually Belgium now. I'm starting to think, as soon as I said it, I want to say it's Belgium, but I don't think it is. It is in Belgium.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
It's.
I had to Google that myself right quick. I said the other track in Belgium and immediately made myself second guess. But yes, heading to the other track in Belgium next week. Let's take a look at the schedule, actually, since it's the topic at hand. And I actually had to double check which circuit we're on next week. I'll have to check with Scott Reister and just verify if we're on the normal layout with the more hard chicane, or if we're on the alternate layout next week with the softer chicane, more of a bend. That's going to change up, obviously, the speed of the lap, but as well as, you know, how you approach that entire, I think, last sector of the course. That alternate layout's really tough to race on, but it does get a lot faster and can be a lot more fun to run depending on how you run things. So we'll see exactly what we've got next week on April the 14th. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about the upcoming broadcasts here on PitStop TV. JP, there are a handful of them. We talked about them earlier on. Here they are once again. BSR at Sonoma Raceway, Outlaws at Iowa Speedway, and IORL next Wednesday at Michigan International Speedway. So no more broadcasts this weekend. And Tuesday afternoon at 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, want to make that distinction there, 3 p.m. Eastern, we have got British Sim Racers MX5 action from Sonoma Raceway on the shorter layout. And then, well, Wednesday, we've got a doubleheader. It is the Outlaw Sim Series and, well, the IRL IndyCar Series, Outlaws at Iowa, and the IRL IndyCars at Michigan. Two really good options as far as your viewing. Whatever you want to go for, honestly, wouldn't bother us just a bit. Two really good races, two really good leagues. We got a lot of action coming up.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of action, and you cannot miss a single bit of that action. Let it be live coverage, and obviously all the updates, all the live coverage that we also provide on Twitter, you know, live updates, that's what I meant, on Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Twitter.com/PitStopTV_, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, and YouTube.com/PitStopTV1.
Yeah, really good. A lot of really good stuff out there from Emerson Arden this evening. A couple of great videos and just good content as a whole. So we certainly appreciate his efforts and getting all of that to you guys in picture and video form over on the social platforms. It is a big, big help to us. JP, Red Bull Ring in the books. What do you make of it?
Absolutely amazing. Setting off to, well, we had two amazing pro races, obviously two amazing M races as well. This is setting up to be a fantastic second half of the championship, I should say. Cannot wait for Zolder. It's definitely going to be an interesting challenge. I don't think we're going to see this much aggressiveness on the fuel strategy, but, well, knowing these guys, we might as well just see that as well. But as long as you have as much action as we had today from both races, I'm going to be happy about it.
A big shout out to everybody who works with us here at PitStop TV. JP Costa on the call this evening with myself, Andrew Cardinal IV, and Emerson Arden over on social media, as per mentioned. And of course, our partners here with the North American Racing League, Race Lab, Moradness, Tan Livery, JS Consulting. They do so much for this series, each one of them. And Race Lab, of course, a fantastic third-party software that you can utilize on iRacing to, I think, improve everything that you're doing, really. And we talk about the Porsche Cup Series. Setups are half of it, coaching is the other half, and really we're forgetting what makes it a third, I think. Race Labs as a third-party software to go ahead and it's like an overlay, just like anything else, and you can get telemetry off of it, all kinds of little details, and really does help you, and it's got native VR integration, so it doesn't matter if you're on monitors or VR, you can use racelab.app. It's entirely free, and we certainly recommend you go and download it today. Moradness, of course, that fantastic driver coaching. We see Giuliano Romagnolo out in the chat weekly, and we certainly love hearing from those guys and hearing just how much that coaching makes a difference here with the North American race. We've heard it now for a few seasons, even before Moradness was an official partner of the series. And of course, Tan Liveries and all the liveries out there in the field and all the social media graphics for the league. Really good stuff, as well as JS Consulting, putting the website together and everything that you see at NorthAmericanRacingLeague.com. That comes from JS Consulting and JSConsulting.com. I do want to believe it is JohnSedlak.com, rather, JohnSedlak.com. So, just a really good time here at the Red Bull Ring, and a big shout out again to all those partners: Race Lab, Moradness, Tan Livery, and JS Consulting. That will do it for us this evening from the virtual Red Bull Ring. Thanks to all of you for watching. Big time having you here. Anyways, I got to get my reins back in here from just go off mode about the partners of the series to closing this one out. It's been fun. Really good day of racing, including BSR TC at I think about it again. Knock Hill earlier today, just great racing all around. JP, I mean, it's just been quality stuff. We've been treated to some really good races lately.
Absolutely, I'm loving it. I hope this streak doesn't stop. I hope it only does start, because I mean, I don't want it to stop. Absolutely not. I'm loving this. I'm loving the action. I love the intensity of the overtakes and battles that everyone is doing, and I just hope it continues.
For all of PitStop TV, again, JP Costa beside me on the mic, Emerson Arden on social media, myself, Andrew Cardinal IV. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time. Hopefully it is either on Tuesday afternoon at the Sonoma Raceway with BSR MX-5, or right back here on Thursday, April the 14th with NARL GT3 action from Circuit Zolder. Either way, we'll see you then. Until then, have a great night and have a great weekend.